All right, good evening. Welcome to the Auburn Board of Health meeting. Today is August 7th. It is 6:05 p.m.
I heard a door. That might be our final.
Maybe our final member will be here. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is to review the agenda. Is there anything we need to remove, add, or move around?
There is, I wish to add, Miss Marion was appointed, I think, right before our last meeting. And I didn't have time to get it on the agenda then, and I failed to put it on the agenda today. We have to reorg
Reorg.
with appointment of Marion for the next 3 years.
Okay.
So we have to do a reorg. Did you want to announce the taping?
Yes. Because of scheduling conflicts, this meeting will only be live until 6:55, and at that point, the TV station will switch over to finance. So after that, we will be taped, and you can watch us at your leisure at another point in time. Okay. Before the reorg, can we just do the bill schedule in the minutes? Because if not, we have to wait for Steve to do reorg.
We do not have a structure.
Cannot do any
We can't do
business.
anything until Steve gets here then.
Do we need all the members here to reorg?
That,
He's not here. We just bag him with everything, right?
Good.
I don't know. It's your call. Can you ask for the members to review the bill schedule?
I can present the bill schedule, but I don't think we can take a vote on it until we reorg.
Wow. Then our hands are tied.
You want to wait one more meeting then?
To reorg? Thing is, we're already out of compliance. You're supposed to reorg within 7 days of appointment. So, if
Is
we
he
can-
here or is he out there?
I don't see his car.
Oh,
He's in
God.
traffic. But
He was
this-
on 290
is
in
there a-
traffic.
I don't believe there's a requirement for all members to be present to reorg.
I'd hate to reorg and then find out we did it wrong.
Oh, come on.
If we do, we'll reorg again.
Alright,
We'll
your
reorg
call.
again.
That's fine. That's fine. You guys make the decision. I'm not. Right now, I'm handing the meeting over to Andy, and I am relinquishing my spot as chairman and handing over the meeting to Andy.
This is my
Okay.
13 seconds of fame here.
Yeah.
As we have no chair right now, I will take the meeting. I will entertain a motion for recommendation for chair.
I would like to recommend our friend here
That would be me.
become the chair.
So the motion is on the table to recommend
Ray.
Awesome.
Ray Gothia to chair the Board of Health.
Do we have a second? I guess that would be
You're
me.
not the chair anymore, so you have the
yes.
right to second, or you
I,
can run
I, I,
away.
I will second the nomination.
Okay, and if we can bring that to a vote. Those in favor of Ray being chair for the next year, or until the following next appointment?
I.
Okay, Ray, I relinquish power back to you. You are now the chair of the Board of Health.
Okay. At this point, I will take nominations for vice chair, and I nominate Marion Howard.
You are the chair. You shouldn't be making motions.
Then how can we reorg?
Very simply, Marion can either nominate herself or nominate Mr. Nordborg.
Okay. So, Marion, do you have any nominations?
Can I nominate Steve?
You can.
I am nominating Steve to be the vice chair of the Board of Health. Stepping down.
I will second the nomination then.
Okay, I would suggest that we vote for Steve in his absence on the condition that he is willing to accept it.
Mhm.
Or, if you wish, you are the chair right now, so the board has structure.
Mm-hmm.
You can move forward until Steve gets here, and
And then hold the vote.
we can hold the vote then. Or we can redo the nomination then, if you wish.
Well,
And as chair, it's your call.
all right, at this point, why don't we vote, and we can let Steve know he is vice chair if he accepts it. Marion, how do you vote for Steve to be vice chair? I vote aye, so it's 2-0 for Steve to be vice chair. We will surprise him when he walks in the door.
Let's-
And if he does not accept it, we will pass it back, and we will either go with chair and 2 members, or we will see if Marion wants to decide to be vice chair again.
See if he ever gets stuck in traffic again.
Exactly. It's his own fault. Okay, so let's keep this moving. Approval of bill schedule. Marion, you're going to look at this, correct, already?
Mhm.
So we have
I did.
2 items. We have public health nurse, and then we have MHAB dues invoice. And do I have a motion to accept?
I make that motion?
Second the motion. How do you vote?
Can you repeat the two items?
Aye. Cheryl Rowinski, public health nurse,
Okay.
and MHAB. MAHB.
Okay, thank you.
All right. It's a vote 2-0 to accept the bill schedule as written. Second item is to accept, or actually, the minutes. These are only for Marion and myself. Steve was not present at this meeting. Marion, did you have a chance to go over the minutes
I
of
did.
that meeting of 6/24/2013? I did too. I found no omissions. Do we have a motion to either accept or change the minutes?
I make that motion to accept.
Second the motion. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. 2 to accept, and minutes are accepted. All right, we are a minute late to, actually the hearing's at 6:50. I'm sorry, I thought it was 6:10. My bad. Okay,
Early.
we're early. So if we can, if you can touch on something small or something quick, programs, goals, and objectives. How's the shops program going?
All of fun.
All of
All
fun.
right. Let me just open a file here. I was hoping that we were going to move right into the order of the agenda, but shops program.
Well, we
All right.
moved too quick for you.
You do.
That could be.
July, new regulation was put in place requiring that shops, it's on the board, home shops shall not be disposed of in solid municipal waste.
Here's our new vice chair.
Okay, before we launch into this, do we want to tell them the bad news?
Yes, that way if you don't get stuck on this. Steve, we had to reorg tonight, and you were nominated as vice chair and voted in as vice chair. Do you accept the nomination and the vote?
Thank you.
Is that a yes? Okay, so Steve has accepted the position as vice chair.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Good job.
See what happens when you're late?
Bet you'll work
Glad
early
I
to get out of
didn't-
traffic.
Glad I
now.
didn't skip the meeting.
All right, we got 3 minutes for the first hearing, so if you can go over this, Andy, if you don't think we have time, we can prep for the first hearing.
Let me jump into this.
Okay.
There's a regulation up on the board. This regulation came into effect of 2012. It says that you can't put home shops in the waste anymore. Auburn Board of Health took the initiative, and working with public partners, CVS and Casella, we started a shops collection program at CVS. We have a kiosk at CVS that basically people can bring their shops. Speaking with the State Department of Sanitation, DPH Sanitation Division, the regulation says a shops collection center shall use only a collection box that meets the requirements of the code. Basically, that says proper biohazard
Label.
symbol, all of that fun stuff, proper color. Our biohazard box does. The box inside the
external.
kiosk is red and it's properly marked, and it gets all wrapped up, and the exterior marking is red. The shops collection shall accept shops from home shops users that are in leak-proof, rigid, puncture-resistant, and shatterproof containers. I've been going up and down the state with this, Department of Sanitation. Their interpretation of this is that the containers that you put in the shops box at CVS have to be red and properly marked. I don't see this on
No,
this.
that's
not what this
That's not what the
says.
code says.
Well, he said, well, I was involved in writing of this. This was the intention of the code. I'm like, you didn't write the intention in the code. This is what the code says. Anyways, because they interpret it that way, my attempt to, I was at CVS today, and I've observed it in the past. This is what is usually dumped in our boxes.
You're struggling there with the.
I can't, it's hard to see.
All right.
All right, this is what we got. Coffee cans, boxes.
Well, box is definitely a no.
That's a Folgers box. Underneath there, you can't quite see it, but there's a bleach bottle. That's what's usually dumped in our kiosks. All right, we have got a mini grant from the state. With our mini grant, we have bought these boxes already.
Click off on the X because the picture's behind it now.
Yep.
Go off. Click off on that one. Pictures behind it. It was behind it because it came up as soon as you did it.
No, look, I accessed
One
it
more.
out.
One more. Jeez, what did you do?
I don't know. Anyhow, we
There's
ordered
one more.
one
One more. Try the last one.
Oh,
There you go.
We have 100 of these 1 quart containers. I'm learning. You told me to use this thing. Now I am.
Yeah.
We have a PO ready
Mm-hmm.
for 20 of the other containers. The other containers are 1.7 containers.
Yep.
Our logic being that there are going to be people out there who sharps are such that certain diseases, I mean, Marion and Steve can speak to this, heavy users. They're going to blow through a quart in a week.
Yep.
2 weeks maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to offer them slightly bigger. I've done some measurements on our kiosk. Our kiosk won't take the gallon size. I've tried to get it in there, it won't take it. The biggest we can fit reasonably that isn't going to blow that kiosk out is the 2 quart.
Okay.
We went fishing at several dealers. This one at just over $3. It's $3.69 a
Mhm.
piece. So if we can get them in for $3.69, our time, our effort, and our goal
Shipping
to
costs,
be able to pay shipping costs and to be able to restock these. Idea would be to sell the small ones for $3 a piece, sell the large ones for $4 a piece,
Mhm.
and using the money we'll be able to
Continue
move
buying
forward.
more.
Our point we're at in the Shops Collection Program right now is the small ones are bought. We're going to have the big ones on order, I believe, next week. We are waiting for a proposal, an estimate,
Mhm.
a quote on that. Thereafter, we should have approximately $200 left over. We want to use that money to sticker the boxes, to sticker the big box, the kiosk.
Mhm.
Right now, the kiosk doesn't even mention that the Board of Health exists.
Okay.
So we want to put the Board of Health on there as a co-conspirator in this thing. We got Casella, CVS. We want to add our name since we were the organizers. And we also want to put on there a sticker on there somewhere that says, appropriate Shops Collection boxes can be obtained at the Board of Health.
Mhm.
Also, we want to develop some flyers that we can put a flyer carrier on the side of the box, and they can pull flyers out. Obviously, we're going to put pictures of the boxes that we're selling, the prices that we're selling them for, the regulation that requires us to do this. I'm looking for additional ideas on what should be in this flyer. I'm thinking a trifold flyer so we can get quite a bit of information.
Well,
So
could we keep them at CVS, some of them?
the containers, we can't, because in order for that to happen, they would have to pay CVS, and CVS isn't the vendor of these things. So when they pick them up, they pay CVS, and CVS is not going to be our banker. They're not going to, they're great partners, but they're not going to be our banker and hold our money.
CVS would have
okay.
to buy them from us for $4 and then retail them out to the customer probably at a higher.
Right.
Yeah.
I have talked to Jim, the pharmacist there.
Yeah.
No, actually, I talked to his assistant to see if they would be interested in having some on hand that they could sell. They are restricted by their corporate. They have to sell within a certain range of products that the corporate allows them to sell by. So they're looking into that. So they might also have an outlet there for them. I can't see that would hurt us if we don't sell ours. That's fine. We don't have to replenish ours if we don't sell
Well,
them.
if they sell them for
Yeah.
$1.50 more, people might say, well, it saves me a trip to the Board of Health. I'll
Yep.
just pay for it here. I don't mind the $1.50. But if they
Yeah,
want to save the
that's
money, they can
true.
come up here. So, yeah, if their corporate allows it, then why not? The more we have being sold, the more they're going to be used in following the law.
So the what I need thoughts on, I was supposed to have this money spent by June 30th. I talked to the state. They said as long as I'm progressing.
2014 or 2013?
Yeah, no. Yeah. They said as long as I'm progressing, they'll recognize that we're moving towards
Okay.
the end product, but they don't want it to go
Yeah.
into next year.
Yeah, exactly.
So in short order, I'd like to talk about what else. I'll try to get some sort of draft of a flyer, at least to start,
Okay.
and I'd like to talk about what else we can put on the flyer that's pertinent to the topic.
Okay. So
Right.
we're looking for shops collection, shops boxes, safety, stuff like that.
Yep, the reasons behind the laws,
Okay.
probably, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
No more sharps and tongs.
Yeah.
Shops and what?
Oh, you weren't here. Sharps dropping out of dump trucks onto the street.
Well, I'll tell you, we had a trash guy get punctured by one.
Mm-hmm.
He grabbed the bag, and it doesn't happen much in Auburn anymore because we have the toter system.
Yeah.
But he grabbed the bag, neck of the bag, and went to throw it right through.
Yep.
So it was happening. That's why Casella was very generous in partnering up and they're paying for the disposal.
Just thinking, physician offices, Reliant Medical, any other,
The new place downtown, the night one. The
Reliant,
not Reliant. They're
Ready Med.
Ready Med.
Ready
Ready Med.
Ready Med, just so that they're aware that we have these for their patients.
I would like to encourage the doctors that prescribe drugs to take them back. I think that would be a
Right,
good practice on
right.
that part, but.
Anything else on the SHAPS program?
No, just wanted to make you aware of where we are. We are right on the edge of done with this, so that was a goal that the board had set up, and we should accomplish that goal easily by the end of the year.
Oh, excellent. Okay, at this point, we do have a hearing. This is a 6:15 hearing, request for use of temporary housing at 24
Erickson?
Swanson Road for Mr. Lennon Erickson. Have a seat, sir.
Yep.
All right, let me see. There we go. That's this one. Okay, so I'm gonna open the hearing, and I just dropped something, but that's all right. So, unless you've been asleep for the last couple months, everybody heard of the RTA bus that did some damage to one of our local homes. So at this point,
How did it make it around that corner?
it wasn't even a corner. It's on a straightaway.
Maybe I looked at the wrong house then.
Yeah, I don't think it was coming down the side street, was it? It was coming
No,
down by Bryn
Swanson
Mawr,
Road.
Swanson Road, and then just kind of veered up into the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a parade going by there for like 5 days afterwards, just people cruising around. I know I did. I cruised around. I had to check it out, you know. So at this point, who goes first? Yourself, Andy? Or? All right. If you want to just, I know we got the letter and I read the letter, but you can just explain in your own words what you're looking for.
Okay, my name's Leonard Erickson. I own the property at 24 Swanson Road. And the house is now demolished. And my son and his family were living in the house. And since then, they've lived in a motel, and now they're actually at our house living with us.
You want to get them out.
So they're looking for housing.
Mm-hmm.
The bus company has been somewhat reluctant to release any funds, or at least their insurance company. So they had actually a house that they could rent for a while, and the owner was holding it, but the funds didn't come through, so they lost that opportunity. Now they may still find another house to rent, but in the meantime, they're looking for temporary housing, especially where one of the children is starting school at Bryn Mawr, and they'd like to be right in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking for one of these trailers. Like I said, Senator Moore's office has been working with them to make this happen. But we just wanted to get the okay from the Board of Health for when it does come through. I mean, right now it still isn't a sure thing, but they've looked at a couple companies. One of was Prospect Housing out of East Longmeadow, and they have I guess A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. And then there's another one from New Hampshire also, Hope Housing, that has a good record. But we would certainly make sure everything was in accordance to what you require, whether it be hard wiring or the sewer hookup, water hookup.
Okay.
And that's kind of where we're at.
All right. Andy, what's
The,
the reg say?
Because the reason this is sitting before the Board of Health is on the board right now. In the Massachusetts Sanitary Code, under 410 Housing Code, it says any temporary housing has to be approved by the Board of Health.
Yep.
Historically, we had a fire on Vine Street, and I believe Chestnut Street was also a fire.
It's been done before.
We have authorized use of these structures. They are essentially mobile home units, much like as are sitting in our mobile home parks. They're all HUD inspected, so literally they're the same units that we have in the mobile home parks as
Yep.
permanent residences. Historically, the board has approved them with, as Mr. I'm sorry, I have it here. Mr. Erickson just pointed out. Historically, the board has approved them with hard wiring, hard plumbing,
Potable water.
for drain and for the water source.
Mhm.
And plumbers have had no problem meeting this requirement.
Yep.
My understanding is Mr. Erickson is hoping for reconstruction within the year.
Mhm.
My recommendation to the board, if they choose to approve this temporary housing, is to approve it for the year and put it on for review after
Revisit
1
it
year
after
from this
1 year.
date. And that way we can find out what the schedule is, if they're gonna have to keep it longer.
Okay. All right. All right. Any more evidence to be given? Okay, I just need a motion to close the evidentiary part of the hearing.
Motion to close.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, we do need to vote. All those in favor of closing your evidentiary section?
Aye.
Aye, 3-0 to close that. Now, time for member comments or questions.
I assume it's right around the corner from Vine Street where the board had previously approved the temporary home. There's no issue with zoning.
Any,
Or does the
Any-
board certification usurp the zoning board?
we could preempt, not necessarily zoning, but the building.
Okay.
But in this case, Mr. Erickson will be working closely with Nick to make sure all
Yeah.
permits are pulled.
Mhm.
Actually, the company that'll bring it in will
Right.
make sure the permits are pulled. Nick has already mentioned that permits would have to be pulled.
Oh, yeah.
Nick Gantanabecker is the building
Oh.
inspector now.
Oh, and they're gonna put the unit in the backyard, or what was the backyard, or do you know, have a
yes,
location where?
It'll be far enough from the actual
Construction work.
construction.
Okay,
Yeah.
and far enough from the road,
Yeah.
so it's not like right on the side of the road. It's gonna be at least, what's it, 6 or 8 feet has
How
to be
big
up?
is the lot?
Yeah, it's 0.38 acres.
Mhm.
So it's at least like 170 feet, I believe, on Swanson
We're
Road.
gonna
Okay.
get all
It's
the
fairly large.
setbacks
It
and
is
everything.
Yeah, because the house was kind of towards the side street, and then there was a yard to the side. I think there was a pool right on the
Yeah,
side of the house
yeah.
there. Okay, so yeah, there is room. I was figuring they were gonna put it behind the house, like on this more to the side street. Is that where you think they're gonna? Or they're
Well,
gonna put it
there's
where
a
the
large
pool?
oak tree there. I don't know if
Yep.
you
Oh,
know the
okay.
oak
Yep.
tree.
All right.
There's land beyond that, so I think they
Okay.
can come right up on that lawn right there.
Okay.
Tuck it way down right on that
Mhm.
end.
I would like to make a motion to accept the request. You can create a list of conditions that basically complies with all the permits and setbacks and
Okay.
standards of,
Basically, I can put down the 3 conditions:
Mhm.
sewer hardwired,
Mhm.
plumbing hardwired,
electrical.
not hardwired, but electrical hard.
Right.
And additionally, I can put and meet any conditions as determined by zoning and building.
Right.
And can we
And
put
that should be-
a time frame on that, please?
For you.
For 1 year.
Does fire have any need to permit or have anything to do with it?
Fire may, I think with HUD houses, we don't have the, it's already inspected and
Okay.
everything for placement of smoke
Mhm.
detectors.
Okay.
But part of building's approval would be
Right.
making sure that the fire department's comfortable.
At all? Right.
Okay. So we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
I do.
Okay, this has to be a roll call vote. Steve, how do you vote?
Aye.
Marion, how do you
Aye.
vote? Ray votes aye. 3-0 to approve the motion to allow the temporary housing on the property with the conditions laid out by Andy. Any questions?
For a year.
For 1 year.
For one-
That was
And
part of the
then it will be-
stipulations.
and then-
They'll review to revisit it. By that
Revisit it.
time, the house could be built and we may not need to
Okay.
revisit at that point. So, any questions for us?
No, just thank you very much.
Huh?
We're progressing in financial.
If you need anything,
Oh, very good.
there's an email. Don't call the number because Paula will yell at me.
No, I
You can send me an email if there's any questions, and I can call the number here. That's the Board of Health number. So if you have any questions for Andy, he can. If you have any questions for the board, you can email me, and I can
Great.
speak to the board members, and we'll get back to you on anything.
Excellent.
All right.
All right. Well,
Thank
very
you, and
much.
have a great night.
Thanks.
All right. Just a motion to close the hearing, please.
Make that motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. We have a motion and a second to close the hearing. How do we vote?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. Close the hearing. And we have
Okay.
1 minute till the next hearing,
Um,
because that was a 6:30 hearing, right? Yeah. So we have a minute till that one.
I can probably get a prescription take back in a minute.
Oh, I bet you can.
Take back. The only thing I got going here, we are prepared to order this baby.
It's about time. I mean, yay.
We've been in talks, Paula was in talks with Med Return,
Mm-hmm.
who supplies the boxes. We can only get the boxes once we pay for it. So what we are gonna do is get in touch with MedReturn. MedReturn is, well, we got in touch. They're gonna forward us a proposal. Based on that proposal, we will do a bill schedule. What I would like to put before the board, because we may not be meeting for another 2 weeks.
So looking at time constraints.
This is out of a gift account, not out of one of our budgetary lines.
Yep.
I would like authority of the board to sign for the purchase order to purchase this. That way we can move this along next week.
Bill schedule.
We're expecting the proposal on Monday.
Okay.
So
was the-
if I can get the proposal on Monday, sign it on Monday or Tuesday,
And send it back.
wait, I'm
You
sorry,
wanna sign
sign
the
a bill
bill
schedule.
schedule.
Bill schedule.
What was the cost?
$6.95.
Right, is there shipping involved in it?
It's all included.
$6.95 including the shipping. Now, we're working off $1,000
Budget.
Mhm.
gift
Yes.
from the
That's the one from the chamber?
Chamber of Commerce. What I would like to consider soon thereafter is how we want to launch this.
Okay.
I mean, once we get this thing, I have one more meeting with the police department and shore it up with Wheelabrator
Mhm.
to make sure we're all set to go. But do we want to do a soft launch, a hard launch? Do we want to? I mean,
Mhm.
I'm thinking we want to do something that involves the chamber,
Definitely the chamber.
definitely Julie, and
The chief.
definitely the the selectmen. This
Yeah.
is something that, the Board of Health is launching this with the police, but the town of Auburn is doing this for the people.
Yeah.
So we
But
want,
I think because it's going to be housed where it is, that we should make sure the chief is involved in it and everything, and they're going to be, they're going to be a huge partner in this. So I want to make sure that they get the credit they deserve too for helping us out with that. So
yes, this is a cooperation between the health department and the police department. Police are taking on a lot of responsibility.
there's a lot that goes along with this
So.
because they are prescription drugs. So yeah, that's excellent.
We want to start thinking about how we want to launch this thing.
Mhm.
Do we want to have TV cameras and fanfare, or
We can talk to some of the locals that cover the stuff, and I'm sure they may have a mobile unit out there for the day and put that right up on the TV channel, which would be great.
I'll definitely talk to Julie, see if she
Mm-hmm.
wants to see if any of the
One question: what's it going to cost us to? Do we have to mount it to the floor? Stabilize it to the floor?
Once we get it, I will talk to,
Because I don't know, because we have some extra money left. I want to make sure that money goes to stabilizing it.
I don't know if it has to be fixed in place or if it just has to be monitored.
Okay.
I have to talk to the DEA on that.
Okay.
If it needs to be fixed in place, we'll see what DPW can do.
Okay.
DPW has a facilities department now,
Mhm.
and they're very good.
In that case, if they have to do that, then make sure you invite someone from there too. If they're going to help us, they're going to help us with some work. Then we might
Yep.
as well. So, okay.
Can I make a quick suggestion?
Please. I mean, no.
Yes, Paula.
How about someone like an elderly person being the first person to drop a prescription in the box?
If they're not using it anymore, sure.
That might be a,
I got like 4 balls at home. I'm waiting to dump in. Yeah, we can find somebody and check the senior center and see who's not using their meds anymore, and who've gone off their meds. Andy went off his meds. We've all noticed, so maybe he might want.
And I'm a better man for it.
Yeah, we can look into that. We can have like a guest of honor and make it the first person to use it. That's not a bad idea. All right, that takes us into. We're at 6:34. So at this point, I would like to open the 6:30 hearing. It's a request to determine habitability of Unit 101 Southwest Retirement Community Manufactured Housing Community. Is the name the person who owns the building or the person who lives there? And Andy, the name?
The name is the person who lives there.
That's Mr. McCabe.
He is. All right. We're dealing with a trailer unit.
Mm-hmm.
I have up on the board a regulation that states that boards of health shall make a determination of habitability. Section B says that if it's occupied, we have to give them a chance to a hearing and to speak their piece, either for or against why we shouldn't. I want to point out that we served Mr. McCabe,
Mhm.
that we served Mr. McCabe's aunt.
Okay.
These are the only two people I could find that had any financial interest in the structure.
Mhm.
We gave a copy to Mr. John Stelmack. He is the property owner that the structure exists on. So we have made every attempt to identify every person of financial interest involved in this.
Okay.
So, Mr. McCabe was served by certified mail, regular mail, in hand by constable with a return of service, and also we posted the building, and Darlene and I handed him one in hand. So there is no question we've got good service. The reason we are being so careful on this is we are essentially considering taking somebody's home.
Mhm.
Right? I mailed out a bunch of pictures
Yep.
in black and white. I have those pictures in color if anybody wants to get a better perception of what we face with. We approached this building. You could smell the odors from the outside of the building. If you look at, if they're in the same order I have them, the upper right picture shows a plethora of flies through the window. That's what those black spots are.
Mhm.
The origin of flies is filth and compost and rot. Flies will lay eggs in it, maggots,
Mhm.
flies. We stepped into the structure and both Darlene and I were gagging. We were 10 feet into the structure before we even saw the floor due to all the clutter and filth. There is waste on the floor. There is sanitary waste on the floor. Pictures show that the clutter and debris eliminate any possible areas to store food, serve food. Electricity's been off for quite a while, so any food that was stored there is spoiled. Significant cardboard and paper clutter and evidence of heavy smoking. We have a serious fire hazard here. Additional to that, the filth is in the furniture. The odor is in the air. It's outside. It's creating a public nuisance.
Bottom right-hand picture, is that an animal?
No, there were no animals
Oh,
in the
okay.
structure at the time.
Sorry, just
That is the only.
in the black and
Looked like a
white.
dog.
It looks like a dog in the black and
Yeah,
white.
Okay,
So.
the only.
Yeah, it looks like a dog.
That is the
Okay,
only
it's
piece
a
of
tra-
floor.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's a trash bag, but it looked like a dog.
That is the only piece of floor that we could see.
Okay.
Everything else was totally cluttered, totally filth.
Mm-hmm.
Kitty litter box overrun. Overflowing. Alright. Second to the last page. What you're looking at, you probably can't see it in the black and white, but it shows up clearly in the color pictures. That is a valve to the water heater.
Oh, yeah.
It is flowing free. It has been since we've been involved.
Mm-hmm.
It is literally one of the first pictures we took is of the outside of the trailer. I
Yeah.
tried to get a picture, but it doesn't come out well. This is actually water
Coming.
flowing out of this whole back rear quarter of the trailer.
Outside of the trailer?
Outside of the trailer.
Coming from the
It's
inside.
flowing out.
Hose.
But Marion, if you can look at this picture that Steve has, you can see the cause. There is a pipe that is just disconnected and it was never shut off.
Pouring, and that's what was coming out of the other.
Literally, for the 2 to 3 weeks that we've been involved in this, that water's been flowing out of the trailer. Initially, he didn't give us access to the structure, so we had no way of knowing what the cause was until we actually got in. He eventually did give us voluntary access.
Okay.
What I'm asking the board to do at this point in time is under 105 CMR 410-831B. I'm asking the board to consider a declaration that this house is unfit for human habitation. Thereafter, I'm going to ask the board to take action under Mass General Law 111-122, which says boards of health shall look into any cause of filth or cause of sickness and shall take steps to remedy them. Basically, we have the right to remove it. And under 126 125, I believe. Let me take a quick look. Under 125, we have the right to, 123, said board shall order the owner. 122.
Yeah.
The Board of Health shall examine into all nuisances, source of filth, and causes of sickness within this town or on board vessels, which, in its opinion, be injurious to the public health, and shall destroy, remove, or prevent the same, as the case may require. 123. The board shall order the owner or occupant of any private premise at his own expense to remove the nuisance. So I am asking the board to declare this a public health nuisance, a public health danger, and order the people to remove the cause of filth, cause of sickness.
Evidence of rodents.
Yes, we saw rodent evidence, mouse droppings in the kitchen area and back in the bathroom around the kitty litter area.
Substantial amount? Not just 2 or 3 little drops.
No, it wasn't wall to wall, but it was enough to say that there's a infestation.
Mhm.
Any demolition of the structure, any removal of the structure will mandate a extermination beforehand if the board
How
chooses.
were you first notified of this?
Neighbor, I don't remember if it was a neighbor or John himself. Electricity. Part of the code says that every house has to have electricity, and that electricity cannot be curtailed for any reason. So when it came to the complainant's attention that there was no electricity, they notified us. Darlene got involved, and we moved from there.
Any evidence of hazardous materials in that structure?
Did not see
Propane,
anything.
Any,
No, didn't see anything.
Speak up a little, Steve.
I was curious if there was any hazardous materials, gasoline, propane, things like that.
I didn't see anything that
Okay.
would, being a trailer, being a mobile home unit, definitely has oil. Wouldn't be surprised if there was a gas tank in the shed or something, propane tank, but that would obviously be addressed separate. I didn't see any cans of anything in the structure.
Nothing in the structure.
I know also under 105 CMR 410, there's also emergency shutdown or emergency condemnation. That's something we didn't go for on that one.
Chose not to go for emergency because we were working closely with the owner.
He was
He
still
was-
there, so it wasn't like he left for on an
I
ambulance or
was
anything like
working, I was working closely with the owner of the property.
Property, okay.
And he is going through an eviction as we're going. I was hoping to coincide the two.
Okay.
As of today, we just got word this afternoon that the gentleman was passed out this morning and was taken to the hospital. So the physical eviction hasn't taken place. He
Okay.
was served. He is legally evicted,
Okay.
but the physical removal hasn't taken place yet.
So if we were to vote on this tonight to, on what you had asked,
Yep.
at that point, would it be condemned?
In essence, yes.
Okay.
It would be condemned. We would
Okay.
order the removal of the structure. The order would go to Mr. McCabe, and it's either his sister or his aunt in Worcester, who apparently a parent or a relative died and left this trailer. The trailer's in probate.
Okay.
No executive's been named yet,
Okay.
and that was probably 12 to 14 years ago.
Mhm.
Nobody's taken responsibility for the trailer, so there is no owner.
But Mr.
I
McKay
would-
has been living here the whole time?
He's been living there the whole time. As such, I would, under the housing code, under, I don't have it up here, under 410, if you hold yourself out to be manager of the property, then you are the owner of the property under the housing code. So if he represents himself as the responsible party of the property, he
Is
becomes.
this his only address? He doesn't have, this wasn't like his little man cave
This
that he
is-
just hung out at?
No, this is his only
This
address.
is his only address.
My understanding is that, and actually I'll say more than my understanding, we are working diligently
Mhm.
to move Mr. McCabe into the Queen Street shelter. There's a
What's
shelter
that?
on Queen Street, Worcester Community Housing Connection,
It's right below the old hospital, the old
City Hospital.
city hospital.
where we are hoping to get Mr. McCabe, and we're working through Senator Moore's office,
Mhm.
and working with a gentleman named Rick at the shelter. I've been trying to get in touch with him already. Mr. McCabe has had a introductory session, I don't know what to call that, a
Yeah.
registration session where I believe they've signed him up for Mass Health, or they are in the process of signing him up for Mass Health.
So he's out of the hospital and now in
He's
the
not in the he's not out of the hospital. He went there last Wednesday. He has gone
and
into the
they did
hospital
interview.
since. And I don't want to get too in depth into. I don't want to get into HIPAA issues. He's been moved to the hospitals. I don't want to get into why. I know they've started somebody started a registration for Mass Health on the gentleman. Darlene and I have been up and down social workers, up and down working with Senator Moore's office through Doreen Goodrich, and she is going to expedite anything that we can get in so that
Okay.
he's not off Mass Health for too long. We want him to have more than emergency care right now. And I believe Queen Street Shelter will attempt to find a connection for permanent housing for him
Okay.
if he's of mind and body to go. So,
Okay.
what's before the board right now is the condition of the house and what action should be taken on the structure. The owner of the property has expressed that because he doesn't believe anybody else will take it down if we can get authorization. And we don't need authorization from the owners, but if we can get the owners to give him the authority to go ahead, once we issue an order to take down, he'll take it down.
Okay.
So we'll be issuing the order to Mr. McCabe and the sister cousin. I'm not sure the relationship, but we do have her address and her phone number. So working through the two of them, we will issue the order that it's got to go. If after 24 hours it's not removed, and obviously we'll issue the order for 24 hours, but we'll
Yeah.
work with a reasonable schedule. We then can, as the Board of Health, remove the Section 127 actually says boards of health can remove and put a lien on the property.
Okay.
So to avoid the lien, the owner of the property has said that if it comes to that, he'll take it down
Okay.
if we order him to do it.
All right. Any other
Any comments
discussion?
to the board?
It wouldn't be because we were gonna lien the property anyhow, and
Right.
the owner of the property said, either way, I'm paying for it. If I do it,
Okay.
I'm paying my wages. If I do it under your orders, then, or if somebody else does it and you lien it, it's under prevailing wage, so I might as well take it on myself.
The floors, the walls, were they solid, spongy,
They-
shaky?
They seem to be solid. The structure was solid, but I have to tell you, based on the picture of the couch, the picture of the carpet, you are not going to get that odor, that cause of sickness.
No.
You're not going to get it out.
But
That's
structure-
fecal matter. You're not going to get it out. I am
But is there a
recommending
safety in regards to the structural collapse risk?
it will not collapse.
Okay.
Darlene and I walked through it,
Okay.
much to our chagrin.
All right.
Could you
I
please-
Do you
would.
need some level 4 hazmat suits?
We had Tyvek and masks. We weren't, we're not going to expose ourselves to it. Whether it's safe or not, we go into enough of these.
Yeah.
We walk straight from this one to a cat house, so
Mhm.
we do these. We
Cat house,
do
really?
safety. I would recommend that the board declare it a cause of sickness in its entirety. Contents, everything.
With what action in mind?
Everything goes.
Yeah, once
No
you
salvage.
declare it that, it's
No salvage.
There's no
It's-
salvage.
There's nothing. There's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So moved?
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Are we gonna close the hearing first?
Sorry.
All right, so I just need a motion to close the hearing.
I make that motion.
And second.
We have a motion and a second to close the hearing. How does everyone vote?
Aye.
Aye. So 3-0, close the hearing.
Okay, quick to a motion. I think we have two situations on the table.
Mhm.
I think we first need to decide habitability. Do we declare it unfit for human habitation, and then either
So,
declare it
as-
a cause of sickness or not a cause of sickness?
As someone who's just declared 2 locations in my town, I would step up and call that unfit for human habitation. I don't know how the other members feel, but to me, it's health and well-being issues. So I would say yes. I mean, if there's a motion on the table, I would say it's declared unfit for human habitation. There is
Definitely.
the egress looks like it was blocked. There was, walking must have been, you were pushing stuff around to get through. No, how was running water? Was there running water? but no heat. Oh, not
There
no,
was
there was
running
no
water, there was
electricity.
no hot water because there's no electricity,
And you need
and the
no
water
heat.
pressure is significantly reduced because he's got a constantly draining pipe.
Pipe.
that runs
So
underneath
yeah, and then you have
it. The floor
the moisture.
The
in
floor in
floor.
that corner was definitely in failure. I
So-
did not observe mold in that corner.
Broken pipe.
No, but,
But it was
just because
flowing water.
just because you don't observe it doesn't mean it's not there. I mean,
Right.
we're not the mold specialists, so we can never say mold. We can say mold-like substance, or but there is moisture, and anytime you have moisture, you have issues with rotting and mildew and possible mold.
The
So
floor was definitely failing. in that
yeah,
corner.
so at that point, that's enough for me to, if I was out on my own, to consider it unfit for human habitation. So I am okay with that if we decide to have a motion or vote on that. And the secondary, what was the secondary you're looking for? Was
to
to
declare it a cause of sickness in the town and,
Okay.
and order it removed.
all right. So we have a shot at two motions here. Does anybody want to make a motion on either point? We have to make one first. That would be whether it is habitable, the location.
I would make that motion that it is unfit for human habitation based on 410,
Okay.
105, 410.
Do we have a second?
Aye.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. How does everyone vote?
Aye.
Aye. So 3-0 to declare, to deem it unfit for human habitation. Okay, the second motion. Do we have a motion on the floor for for declaring it a cause of sickness in the town of Auburn?
I make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Outside of the walls of the structure, where's the risk to the community?
The odors in this place are outside.
Okay.
You approach this thing and you can smell it.
How close are the
Odors
butters?
are,
Fly.
there's a trailer
insect.
park. They are on top of each other. The neighbors
20
are,
feet?
if there's 10 feet between the trailers.
Okay.
It's
I
a tight
second.
trailer park.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table with a second to declare this a source of sickness for the town of Auburn. How does everyone vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 3-0 to declare it a source of sickness.
It must be removed.
It must, yeah, that was part of the thing, was it must be removed. That's part of the code. If you deem something source of sickness,
Okay.
then we have this, we can take it down.
Want
So-
to clarify.
All right, now we'll take a motion to close out the entire hearing.
Move to close the hearing?
Aye.
We have a second. All right, how do we vote? Aye.
Aye.
All right. 3-0 to close the hearing. Okay, as of now, we got 2 minutes left of being live, and then we're gonna switch us over to tape.
So anybody want to dance or anything like
No,
that?
I'm good. Well, we're still gonna be on tape. We're just not gonna be live. Okay. We're now on tape. Beautiful. And we get
But
to look at.
we will still be, I
We're-
mean, we're still being taped.
We're
volume,
being taped, yes.
Because we're going to be,
Yes.
It'll be put on,
Okay.
It'll be put on another time.
you're on a wide
Huh?
angle shot.
Still
Yep.
behave.
I gotta be on my best behavior.
Yeah,
even
so it's
verbally.
wide angle, so we're all in. So nothing,
Okay.
no making faces over there, Paul, like you
Unless
normally
you
do.
turn this way.
Yeah, you don't know which camera's wide angle.
So this is taping.
It's being taped.
It's-
It's just
it's
it
being
has to be
taped,
taped. It's part
Visual
of
and,
yep,
and
voice. Yeah.
Because they're gonna replay it at another time.
Yeah. Robert's
Okay.
rules has to be taped. So, okay. We did the prescription take back program. Health assessment. That was a big booklet at the end.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
And I present to the board the product of Mr. Ryan Mishad. Ryan was our intern from North Carolina. Very impressed with the boy. He was more than adequate. He eagerly attacked this. He interviewed everybody and everybody else, including some community at-large people. I was surprised at some of the outcomes. I haven't really gotten deep into this yet. I've got the next 2 days off, and this was going to be my light reading for the next 2 days. But I was very, very interested. He found huge concern on water quality. I believe that is probably skewed due to the recent arsenic issues. It's top of people's minds right now, but generally Auburn water is good water. I will reiterate that the total delivered water never went above minimum
Yeah.
standards. There was one well that when diluted with the other wells, never exceeded.
Did he delineate where these respondents were from in town? Because not all of our water comes from Auburn Water District. Some of
Again,
it
I
comes from
haven't,
Elm Hill.
but I believe
Okay.
he was
Did
he was generally in this area,
okay.
so I suspect it was Auburn
Predominantly
Water
Auburn
people.
Water District,
Yep.
okay.
Um,
I mean, it would be skewed if 3/4 of the respondents came from,
Jerome Ave area with Elm Hill. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
okay.
So I want to take some time to dissect this thing. I want to compare it with the,
The original.
we had a very general, more of a regional health assessment done by the School of Pharmacy. And I'd like to see what crosses here. It seems interesting that this one was heavy on traffic, heavy on communication, which we've always said we don't know how to get the word out effectively. Fire department and police department both made comments that, you know, they try to hold some sort of event and nobody either through failure to care, failure to, there's a word,
Become involved.
empathy? No, there's a word for it.
Apathy.
Apathy is close. Yeah, it's very hard to get some of the citizens of Auburn to become involved in their own, you know, in what we can offer them.
Yep.
But I want to compare these two, see what one says, see what the other says, and hopefully we can have a good discussion on it and plan
Can
for future programs
Is
based on it.
there any hope to get somebody for the fall semester from a school to come out and we can choose one of these areas from them to go in depth on? Or, you know, we had talked about
We have
interns.
a $1,000 grant from Chana 8. I can't think what Chana stands for, but Darlene is going to use that money, and she is going to try to launch a community health program, a community partners program.
God bless.
Bless you.
I'm better now. Much like the old, remember Cynthia was deeply involved in the
Consortium.
consortium?
Yeah.
We want to try to launch something like that, but go more for the professional partners. We'd like to get Alliance, somebody from the district nurses, if indeed they are still there, somebody from Auburn Youth, people from the churches, the new Reliance Walk-In Center,
Schools.
representatives
Nurses.
from the schools, and create a panel that will sit maybe 2 to 3 times a year and say, these are the things that we really think are of concern in public health in Auburn. You know, and obviously they would base it off of these, or at least start with these, and go from there. And hopefully these same community partners, in addition to helping us define what's wrong, not what's wrong with the town, what the needs of the town are, hopefully see what they can offer to help us, you know, resource-wise, to address some of these things and make
That
some of our
sounds
programs a little more vibrant. Obviously, we'll want at least one member of this board involved in that. And I was thinking about you, Marion, because I thought you would be a great community partner on that one. So we're going to take these, and we hopefully will launch in conjunction with the grant that Darlene's going to run, or the program that
Sounds
Darlene's
good.
going to try to launch. So hopefully we're going to get that launched by the end of the year.
What program was Ryan enrolled in? What was the?
Ryan was in environmental health down in a college in North
Bachelor
Carolina.
level or?
He's going to be a senior this coming year.
All right. I don't know if master level programs do,
Warmed up.
you know, internships or anything like that.
What was that? I didn't hear you.
Master's
Would
level
like a
program.
MPH program have
okay.
internship programs
Yeah.
that maybe we could look at tapping into?
Yeah,
for-
something better than we've had previously.
All right, I know Worcester State has a MPH program in public health.
So I'm just thinking if we can help an MPH student as well as help the town.
Right.
Mr. Derek Brindisi of Worcester, the director in Worcester, actually teaches some of the programs at the MPH program. So I can call Derek and see if he can.
I mean, it looks like Ryan, from what I read, it looks like Ryan did a great job,
I did a great job.
but let's kick it up a notch
Yep.
if we can get a master level intern in here. And
And I know Derek has about 6 to 8 interns working in the city of Worcester
Yep.
at any given time. So there is a need. There are people out there looking for work. I don't know if they're all MPH or if they're in the
Yep.
regular class, like if they're in the bachelor level classes. But he does have a lot doing work with the city.
Mass
So.
has a program too, and Cynthia's sister is the head of the one at Worcester.
She's the head of the one at Worcester State?
Okay.
Stephanie Chalupka.
Yep, Chalupa. Stephanie.
Chalupka, Chalupka.
She's wonderful. She's wonderful.
We'll talk later. I want to know where she lives.
She
One
could,
of my
Grafton.
daughter's good friends is Chalupka.
Oh,
you could probably spell that with your eyes closed.
I don't think anybody can spell Chalupka with their eyes closed.
Anything else on the health assessment?
No, I just wanted to introduce
Yep.
it to you, let you know it was out there,
Mhm.
give you guys an opportunity to scan it, and
I loved
hopefully,
it.
Yeah.
hopefully from this point forward to actually
I
read it.
only had time to scan it. I just kind of
I-
flipped through because we got it on Monday, and it's
Yep.
been a rough couple days. So
I wrote it,
This afternoon.
literally the same thing. The only time I looked at it, I did a proofread on it before he finalized it. So I wanna go through the final product and maybe have a good discussion on it next meeting if appropriate.
all right. Next thing is food code.
All right, let's bring it up. We have the final draft from Mr. Hennigan. Actually, the final draft with Mr. Hennigan's suggestions. The only thing I haven't addressed in it is the renumbering, and I think that's irrelevant to the conversation at hand. It won't go away.
No, they want you to restart. You don't want. Once you restart, you're never going to get back into it.
Don't make changes. All right. Let me call up my food code here. One section that I didn't, and we briefly discussed this before, is 1005 F3.
1005 annual. I knew that was going to come up. Application with the appropriate application fee must be submitted to the Office of Board of Health following review and approval. The annual event permit awarded prior to serving an event not covered by the establishment primary permit. Okay, that's kind of convoluted.
Is it? My problem is I wrote it, so it makes absolute sense to me.
I know what you're trying to say, but it's kind of there's a lot of.
I guess my question is, does it belong here at all?
Okay.
Should I just
An
delete that whole
application with the
thing?
appropriate application fee must be submitted to the Office of the Board of Health, and following a review and approval, the annual event permit awarded prior to serving at any event not covered by the town. It's a run-on sentence. It doesn't. The annual event permit awarded prior to serving at it.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. It kind of lost me when I
Okay.
read it last night.
Look at F.
Yep.
Annual event permit. Am I saying, is it redundant? Am I saying the exact same thing twice?
I think.
I got the sense that I was because we've addressed applications before this.
Yeah.
So we could eliminate 3 without harming
Without harming F.
the intent of the regulations.
Okay.
Are we kind of in agreement on that?
I feel, it when I read it, because what I was doing is actually looking for what looked like highlighted, and that area looked highlighted because we have black and white copies. So I read that and I went back to it and I said,
which one are we on?
it made no sense.
What page?
F and then 3 right here. So I thought it sounded like you were having them pay for another event when you already talked about application fee. I don't know if anybody else got that, but I was involved in a lot of these things, and to me it just kind of sounded. When I read it, I knew what you were talking about, but I was trying to find out how you were trying to get there.
And because I wrote it,
Yeah,
it made perfect sense to
it's
me.
because like the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. In
No,
the
it's a
opposite-
helix.
in the opposite direction is what it comes down to. So
So my question, and I think I'm directing this mostly at Ray because Ray's food. But I
Definitely he's
definitely
food.
definitely entertain thoughts. Do I need this in here? Do I need 3 at all?
I don't think it needs to be there because it seems like everything, because on 4 you say those separate permits will not be required for each temporary event, and you hold the annual permit shall at least 7 days prior, and then you're talking about that. I don't think 3 needs to be there, because when you talk about application fee, it's
prior
already,
to F.
when they fill out the paperwork, it says
Right.
that it has to be approved and it has to be reviewed
Yep.
in all your permitting, so I don't think that needs to be in there.
And we described the permit itself in F.
Exactly. It explains what that kind of permit is. I think you just confuse people with 3.
All right, so if I delete 3,
It does not affect F at all.
if I delete 3 and call it quits,
Mm-hmm.
is the board comfortable with moving this to, this is 4 years in the making now,
Yeah.
is the board comfortable with moving this to a hearing and then, based on the results of the hearing, edit and adopt?
I am very
You okay with this?
happy with the work that has been done on this. I wish I ever had time to do more on it. I know I was in the planning of it and started it, and then
For years.
yes, that was when I came on the board. That's what I said. We have to redo the food code, and here it is.
Go for it.
Very happy with it. That was the only section, and like I said, I looked for the highlighted sections. That's the only one that looked less than anything else, so I knew it wasn't just the print of like the printer losing ink because everything else was dark. That was the only thing. I said, well, it's highlighted for a reason. I read it and it made no sense, but everything else, this is one thing I will say that I actually took time and read the entire thing through because we've been working on this for a long time.
Okay.
I am very happy with the outcome. If the other board members have any questions, like I said, me working in food, me working as an inspector, I get all this. People who do not work in that may have other questions. And because they don't work in it, they may have stuff that we didn't think of too, because we do this day in, day out.
It's the same as when we talk medical. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Exactly, and that's why I'll say I have questions, but yeah, it's did everything make sense? Is anything that you know, because somebody who wants to be a caterer may be just like you and have a food, be able to be a food handler and have everything they need. I want to make sure this makes sense to the lay person, you know, because food people are going to get it. Food people are going to get it because they spend time in food. So, I don't know. I'm happy with it.
I think it's a good product.
I think there was a lot of work put into it. I think it looks great, but I want to make sure, and that's why we're going to have a hearing, is people are going to be able to question things too,
We're required to have a hearing in
Yes.
order to adopt it.
to adopt it.
So my question before the board, are we prepared to move this document to a hearing?
My opinion is yes.
Your opinion, no?
His
My
opinion
yes.
is
Yes.
Yes. me
Yes.
too. Me too. I
Steve, you comfortable?
also.
And you came on like halfway through.
Yeah,
it,
you know,
so
it's at the
Witness
tail end of
forever.
it. So on the annual event permit, are we
Mm-hmm.
gonna require caterers to get another license?
what we're doing is,
Now, I can see if Auntie M's Bagels has a license to provide food services down on Route 29, wants to come and do a charity and serve food,
Yep.
they need either
either a temporary
a temporary
or an annual event.
or an
Yeah.
annual
We
event.
would not make, because a caterer by definition can take their food and serve it at outside
Right.
places, they can, basically they can serve without it.
This
With their
With
main
it,
license.
as long as they notify us that they're doing a catering event.
Which they normally
yeah.
do anyway.
This annual event permit was kind of my baby
Yeah.
because I want to build up the town events.
Mhm.
And what happens is a place, and I'm going to use this,
Right.
Robbie's Ice Cream, Crystal
Right.
Caves. They
Right.
do popcorn. They do that kettle corn
Mhm.
at a lot of events. Problem was, every time they did an event, they had to pull a separate permit.
Ching. Yeah.
So they were only doing 3 or 4 years, because I think it was what, $25 a permit.
What are
What's
temporary?
temporary?
25?
25 was
Five,
temporary.
Yeah.
So if they say, okay, we're only going to do 4, well now having this at a one price, they can do 12.
Mhm.
They can do 4 or 12. The more they do, the cheaper that permit's going to be for them.
Right.
So when if they pay, say it's I don't know what the permit fees are. We haven't touched the fee schedule. Say the permit's $100. They do 4 one year. They pay $25, and it's like, okay, it was a wash. They do 12 the next year. Well, now it costs them under $10 for each time they went out. So the more they do, and it gets them into more town events.
Right.
So that's what we were looking for, is having this one thing. 'Cause a lot of times people like, or what ends up happening is one of the events, they forget to pull a permit 2 weeks before. And now, oh geez, now they don't have time. So now Kristen, when she runs one of her events, is short two people, two different vendors because they didn't pull their permits in time. So we were looking at a way to get people more involved and to make it better for them to do as many as they could without spending extra money. So I think what's going to happen with that is a place like Crystal Caves, they're the ones who have been, they have their own permit in their, if you want to call it, their location. When they go outside, they have to buy extra permits. So now if we do an annual event license, they can do any event in town as long as they do the stipulations of making sure they turn in their food handler, turn in their menu and stuff like that. So I think that was one of the things that I had said, hey, wouldn't it be better so people don't have to pay 5 times a year, they can pay once and do as many things as they want.
And very specifically, they have to have a food service permit in
They
order
still
to
have to comply
qualify.
And
with
qualify, yes.
So it's not like
I can
it's
come
not
up
like
and just
Mary
say,
who wants to bake
Right.
cookies for every event can get one of these permits.
she'd have to have
Right.
one already provided by the Board of Health.
Does it make sense that we say that we have to do this, but we're doing it anyway?
The town of Auburn shall establish. We've never had one in the past, so I think it's. I don't know if it should be the town of Auburn shall establish an. I think on F, Andy, the first line, the town of Auburn shall establish an annual event permit.
It's Town of Auburn Board of Health.
Well,
No.
What Steve's saying is, we're
redundant?
doing it. Why are we
doing it.
saying we're going to do it?
We're doing it, why do we say we have to do it?
I'm going to
Or
run
we're
to
gonna
first
do it?
base after I hit single. I'm going to run to first base anyways, so why do I have to
It's
tell
just-
you
it's
I'm
just
going to run?
Delete the line, the Town of Auburn shall establish an annual event.
Because we're doing it.
Yeah.
And I mean,
It's
it's
just-
just a little
yep.
extra ink, but,
Mhm.
but other than that, I see the point where F3 looked a little redundant.
Yes.
So I don't lose anything losing that.
No, definitely not.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
So do we need a motion to see if we want to send this to, vote on it and send it to hearing?
I don't think we need to vote
No?
on it because we're going to end up voting on the regulations,
The regulations
after
once
the
we're
hearing
after the hearing.
anyhow.
Okay.
What I would request is, obviously, we have to put it in the newspaper. Obviously, we have to do all the postings the laws say. We have a lot of food establishments, but should we notify each food establishment? Should we send out a cover letter to all the food establishments?
And a copy of
Do we?
this to each
How we?
food
How are
establishment.
we doing with email
Is that
addresses?
right?
Do we have, like-
Darlene is working on that.
We
We
have,
have some.
No. Okay. Because it'd be a lot easier just to send an email
would be
blast.
nice.
That's what we were working on before when Matt was here. Was
Yeah.
starting to get email addresses because sending out these letters is going to cost us money, and you know.
Well, not only the letter, but if you're gonna send them the whole copy of the
Do we
proposed
send a whole
regulations.
copy of each, or do you
Just
or
that
do you
it's
put it there
available.
that they can
What we-
request it?
What we'll probably do is
They're
put the
available
draft
on.
online
Okay.
and make it available online,
Fine.
and also make it available in the office for those
They can come in.
establishments.
They
That's
can
what
come and
we
request.
usually
Yeah.
do.
So it's going to be a 1 5-line letter. We have a postage budget,
Mm-hmm.
so
Okay.
the cost of mailings, it's just the resources to get the letters out.
Exactly. That's
And we're starting to learn how to use computers in this town.
so.
So using mail merge, we should be able to do it reasonably. It's just stuff in the envelopes that's going to take a long time.
Okay. So we're looking to get them out. Yeah, I mean, I think that's right now until we get email addresses for every restaurant, which is something we've been working on for a few years, 2-3 years now. Until we get that, the way we can reach everybody to send it out that way, I believe. We want more people. Tell them they can view it online, or they can request a copy at the office. They can come up and get a copy of the office, and they can read through it. Some people, I'll tell you what, I know there's restaurants in town that have been in business for years and have never even seen our regs. They just go by whatever the person who does the inspection tells them.
Yep.
And I noticed that in other towns too. You go in and they're like, "Oh, is that a reg? Yeah, it's a town reg." Oh, okay.
Our regs are available online.
Yeah.
So.
So
Next, I would recommend we want to adopt this before the new year,
yes,
but I would recommend that we probably not look at a September hearing, but look at an October hearing.
okay.
The reason I'm suggesting this is it will allow me to work on our fee schedule.
Fee schedule, yes.
And if we're going to adopt a new,
We want to adopt everything at the same time.
if we're going to adopt a new permit,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to put a fee on that permit, we might as well look at all of our fees.
Yes.
And we'll have a double hearing, one for our fees and one for our, one for the food code. So we can discuss the fees at the September meeting
Mm-hmm.
and plan the October meeting to be a hearing for the food bill.
Fees
And that
haven't
way-
been changed
It's-
since 1987.
It's
1987 or 1897, I'm not really sure
Yeah.
which.
Well, I feel like I've been here since 1890.
So is there a regulatory requirement to notify all the establishments in
There is
town
not.
outside of newspaper or other?
There is not, but
Okay.
I do not want a town, I don't want an establishment. I'm only suggesting it, and it's the
Well,
board's call.
What I'm thinking is if we have, and I don't know what's going to be easier for the office to manage, but if you've got email addresses on 40% of them, notify them by email, and for those that you don't have, then you can stuff a letter. Unless for you, it's just easier to stuff 100 letters.
I
and-
don't think that will work, because those that get the email will say, well, you mailed it to that one, how come you didn't mail it to me?
Not only that, if we pull a mail merge, it's gonna be easy to mail merge the whole list.
Okay, I'm just trying
So,
to think of,
And,
But-
Yeah.
and there is no
Can we-
regulatory requirement for
Right,
it,
well,
but
that's
when
why
we
I said
adopted
that.
the smoking regs,
we sent it out to every,
smoker.
yeah, we
Yeah.
did do that.
Okay.
All right, can we, this is, I mean, a little off topic, but when we set up our permits to go out, when do the permits go out for there's December?
We usually send them out the end of October, beginning of
Okay.
November.
Can we add a location for an email address and put some kind of note in the letter
It's on the
saying?
form, it's been on the
But
form.
can we put a note someplace that says, we will be sending information out by email, please put an email address? And then when we get it in, before we send out the permit, let's see if we can get somebody out there to get the, maybe, you know,
You know,
We've done that.
Let me
we gotta get
try to
email
get,
addresses.
part of it might be that we're not transferring it to the computer. So let me
Okay.
get an intern or a senior work-off person, and we'll give them all of the applications, and we'll say, can you create a email list?
Because we've,
I have it on my master list,
You have an email
email list.
on
Okay.
on the computer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
all right, so
we're
let's,
well on our way.
let's keep moving with it because we get stuff with every day we get HAN alerts on
Yes.
stuff. We got to send these out to people who are using that stuff, so we have to make sure they can get the HAN alerts. So if there's a recall and nobody knows about it because we don't have their email addresses, we need to do it.
All right, I will make it a point to look at that next week when I come back
Okay.
and see where we stand on the email list
Okay, good.
and what we need to get that completed.
All right, flu 2013, 2014.
What did I just say? I need to get fee schedule
Fee schedule.
for next month. Flu. A couple things of concern here. Concern, maybe not concern, but first off, we got notification of our pending delivery. We have 150 doses of flu coming from the state, flu vaccine. I personally think that's going to be significantly low, but I got notice from Sanofi Pasteur that we can order more if we need it. This board talked about this already, about buying it. I just want to keep it in their mind that we can get it and we may want to.
I remember Steve had asked, is there any, if we order early, is there any,
There is not.
there's nothing?
It is
Okay,
what
you
it
did
is.
find that, okay.
There is a emergency preparedness month in September,
Mm-hmm.
culminating week 4 of September, and this is the state is going to launch media blitz for this stuff. Week 1 is get ready, individual family preparation. Week 2 is get involved, join the response. Basically, they're going to hype up the MRCs, the CERT teams, stuff like that. Week 3, we're all in this together. Consideration for individuals with access and functional needs. So your special needs population, your senior population, your obviously your access challenged population, your infirmed population, and does infirmed describe the schools? Your I can't think of the type of establishment, but your population that is not your normal daily population. In our case, hotels, our senior centers,
Some of you transient,
our hotels, our senior housing,
yes.
including the manor in the woods. And then week 4, they're going to hype up, get vaccinated, fight the flu. So I think we're going to have,
Is that in September?
that's the last week of September. So September going into our flu season, they're gonna be hyping up media coverage and media of get
So
vaccinated.
when do we usually run our first clinic?
So we gotta start thinking about planning our clinics this year. When do we wanna run them? How do we wanna run them?
Well, we have to take advantage of, they're gonna be blitzing this stuff out in the media. Why should we have to, all we have to do is put a thing out there saying Auburn's thing is on this date.
Yeah.
We
Right.
don't have to, because before we were sending out mailings, we were doing this, telling people, hey, get vaccinated. Now they're gonna do it for us. If the state's gonna do it, let's take advantage of it and run something within a relative time frame.
My fear is that we are going to, I think we'll have our doses by early October.
Okay.
My fear is, and I'd like to run one in early October.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting 150 from the state. I know we talked about this. Let's see how the season goes. But I don't think I would like to hold a public clinic with only 150
50
doses.
doses, no. We've run it usually with 400.
I'd like to jack up our initial. We have a
We have
Revolving
a
fund.
revolving fund.
dedicated to that use. I'd rather have 50 extra than 52 fewer.
Mm-hmm.
So if the board is all right with it, I'd like to jack it up to 400.
What
by-
are we paying
by
per
another
dose?
150 by another 250.
Right.
We're paying approximately $10 per dose.
So that'd be 2,500. I think we have 3,000 or 4,000 in the
We
account.
have close to 6,000.
Close to 6,000 in the account.
I
Correct.
haven't looked it up.
All right.
Are
So
you talking about another clinic, like at the high school?
We're going to hold a public clinic as we do every year.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure I have enough vaccine for it. If we don't run out of vaccine at that clinic, then Darlene and I will bang our heads together and present other options. Last year we did one at the mall. We did one at a craft fair for one of the churches.
Voting.
Voting was ridiculously successful, but we don't get voting every year, unfortunately.
But
But-
the good thing this year is, like you said, they're going to be hyping everything, so it may boost a lot of. Just like it's sad to say, but the H1N1, when that happened, we
it out a
blew
lot.
through so many vaccines on that because it was all over the news, it was everywhere. And I think that's what's going to happen this time is once it gets on the news again and people stop pushing it, we're going to see people calling the office saying, when can I get my vaccine? When is the thing?
Why would that generate an alarm? Like with the with the other vaccine that you're talking about, people were really scared about that, but
Well, I think with people talking about it on the news, people can get nervous again because when people start talking about things, people start getting in the back of their head that it's going to happen.
H1N1, oh,
I'm not sure they'll get nervous.
No.
But I think
Nervous,
it will
but
bring
it's
it will
gonna
bring it
bring it
from
to
the
the
back of their
forefront.
mind to the front of their mind.
Yeah. All I'm
And-
saying is that was one of our most successful years, is because it was all over the news. And now that whole month of September, they're going to be talking about healthy, and then the last week they're going to talk about get vaccinated. It's going to be right in people's forefront. So if we run a clinic within 2 weeks of that, we may have more people than we usually do.
I think our worst year in the last 5 years, we did over 250 in our worst year.
Yeah.
And we're more active in trying to find event locations to do it. I still believe one flu shot protects the person with the flu shot plus the people that he would have exposed had he caught the flu.
Yeah.
You know, so I still think the flu shot is
Mhm.
a significant health.
And we always do the senior clinic, so they do a good amount at the senior clinic for the senior
We turned
event.
over 100 last senior clinic, right, like 118.
Do you know what our 5-year average is on?
I don't. I can definitely get that for you because I have them all written down in a box in my office.
The pharmacies last year were the first time that they started offering them.
They started off in August last year, August and early September, and they did a lot too. So
But it didn't cut our numbers. Our numbers.
no, our numbers stayed the same because people knew we were coming out with it and they knew we were having
I
it.
think there's a comfort in coming to the Board of Health.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for years. They want to keep doing it.
Hmm.
They feel safer.
I mean, if you're going to go to people you
I
know,
mean,
or
I definitely don't want to say that the pharmacies
See,
aren't
so
safe.
not
They're-
safe.
they're
No,
all
exactly.
trained. They're
True,
all,
true.
You know, I would.
it's comfortable when you go in and see people you see every year. You see the same. You're going to go in and see people, and then you're in line with your friends. People always like think about when the voting. There was people talking outside when they came out. Oh, hey, how you doing? And so it was kind of a community event. People were in line to vote. Then they came over and got their shots, and then they were talking, and it was kind of almost like a kind of a hanging out thing and talking to everybody and saying hi and you know. But yeah. All right. So yeah, I'm all for buying extra doses. If that's what you think we need to do to build up our supply. I'm all for it. I don't know how the other board members feel. I know Marion's always big on making sure we have enough vaccinations.
I'm big on everything.
I know you are. So, yeah. Steve, how do you feel?
I mean, 400 doses doesn't sound that bad so long. Again, it does not
Right.
grossly exceed the the 5-year average.
No.
You know, if we were pushing out 120 vaccinations over the last 5 years, you want 400. That's a little excessive, but
Yeah.
The 150 is based on our lowest year. The state gave us 150, and it happened to be the year that we really didn't turn a lot of doses. That was our poorest year, so we're basically getting the equivalent of
Wasn't
our
that the
poorest over the last
wasn't
5
that
years.
the year after the H1N1?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
the
'Cause we
year
did
afterwards
what we
was
do
a bad
like
turnout.
1,200 the year of the H1N1, then it dropped down to 150, and then we were
The
up
year of
over,
the H1N1,
Oh.
we did 20% of the population.
20%
We did over 3,000,
over 3,000. So
and that was in
and they were
09.
9, 10, yeah, because I was on the board. They I don't think they added that one in when they were doing the 5-year average. They dumped those
They
off
didn't
the
give
side.
us.
Well,
This
it's-
isn't
it's
based
a
on
big
5-year
outlier,
average.
so-
1 year they said we're going to give you based on last year, and it happened to be a bad year.
Bad year for us.
So, and they've
Okay.
kept it constant ever since.
So okay. Anything else on the flu?
No.
All right.
Good.
Tobacco, sales, re-inspections. I hate that last one. Roll your own.
Alright, that was sales. We have a regulation in place, first-time offenders get a $100 fine. We go through the Worcester Tobacco Collaborative.
Yeah.
The FDA did a
Oh, yeah.
sting. The FDA did a youth access sales. And we had 2 sales in town. And I was gonna present to you a question whether we wanna call that first-time offense. It wasn't our people, it wasn't our organization, it was the feds. And they were just nice enough to tell us that there were sales at those places.
An offense is offense. It's a sale is a sale.
That was my attitude until I started thinking about it. What if they appeal it? We don't have any evidence, we didn't observe it, we don't have,
let me
you know, a
ask
description of the kid.
let me ask you this: if the state police was to pull someone over on the interstate and give a speeding ticket, does that mean Chief Slukas can issue a ticket also?
Does not, but they would be citing the person under the same law that Slucas is.
Okay.
The feds are citing them under the federal law, we would be citing them under local law.
And they don't
Um,
fine. The feds don't fine. And we have policy of 4, and then you lose your license.
Right.
Is all you lose your permit.
The issue, the big thing in my mind is that because we have a cycle of 4 penalties,
Yep.
we're losing the first penalty, so they would essentially get to a 5th penalty before we would enact our 4th. Do you know what I mean? Did that make sense to you?
It's like getting.
So I didn't wanna lose-
a free pitch in baseball. You know?
Yeah, I didn't want to lose this first offense, but the more I thought about it, if they chose to appeal it,
We don't
it
have
would be a
the.
nightmare for us to
To
try
try
to
to
back
get
it
the.
up.
Well, it says a letter was sent from the feds to them,
Yep.
and then we got copies.
I today, the only reason
Now
I said I previously thought about it, I got a letter today from Cheryl Sabara of the Massachusetts Association of Health Boards.
Mhm.
She would recommend that if somebody got one of these letters, we might want to send them a letter basically stating that, you know, what the law is, basically giving them a refresher training, but we might not want to treat it as a offense within our code for the exact same reasons we just talked about.
Okay.
If it becomes aware that the FDA violation, the board can fine the retailer locally. There's some concerns with this approach. The board does not become aware of the violation until a final determination is made. That could be 6 weeks later.
Mhm.
So we're
We're fining
basically
them. Yeah.
we're basically punishing our child for something they did 2 weeks ago. You know.
Okay.
Also, if they choose to appeal the FDA and they win the FDA, now all of a sudden everything we do is wiped out.
Okay.
So she recommends a more of an educational approach
Mhm.
than a penalty approach. And we would just keep it on file that that there is a record of a sale.
Is there any way how to put this? So if this is a, it's not an offense, but if they are caught in the next 4 months, can we consider it an offense then?
Can we jump to second offense? Basically, second penalty?
They just wouldn't pay the, we'd be alleviating that first payment, that first fine, but if they came in, this would be a secondary one, and we can enforce the secondary.
My first thought is no, because we didn't recognize the first one.
But we are recognizing by sending them a letter and explaining to them, more or less giving them a free pass.
I
Yes.
can talk to Cheryl.
Do you have our regs handy? Now, what I would consider as well is sending them a letter and saying, based on the FDA
You did violate.
determination, you are in violation of the Auburn, code. I would consider waiving the $100.
The $100.
But it's still a first offense.
It's still,
because-
yep, exactly.
And
That's
then-
what I'm saying too. It's the same thing. It'd be considered a first offense with no penalty. We're
wa-
kind
wa-
of
waived
waived, penalty waived, with the
because
that
it
if they
wasn't,
do,
it wasn't our agent that.
it wasn't our agent. So if we go out 4 weeks later and we send out someone from Worcester Coalition, Karen's group goes out and they get them again, then it's like, okay, you were warned. That was your first offense with the penalty waived because it was the the federals that came in, and now we're looking at you have your second.
But then if they've appealed it and they run the appeal, they can
Do-
say,
But the
We're appealing.
they're appealing. Well, then that's when it comes to appeal. Who's gonna?
Well, if they appeal the FDA determination,
Well,
and we
the-
give them a second or subsequent offense.
Well, I don't think the FDA is doing it. All the FDA did is send you a letter. They sent them a letter and said, "Hey, somebody sold." They didn't find them, so they're not going to appeal a letter.
Yeah.
But with us sending them another
Right.
letter saying, "You were caught by this. If you would you like to,
I'm not averse to doing it. I can tell you that if I were a vendor and I reached third offense with town,
Mhm.
but the town is calling it fourth offense, so they're taking away my cigarettes, they're taking them off the floor, I'm taking the town to court just to
I'll tell you what.
just
If
to
it,
try
if
to
it,
get away
if
with
it gets to
because
if it-
losing
That's
that
why.
revenue.
That's
is
why I want
great.
to see how our regs are written.
well, I think
If there's any.
at that point, if they've sold 3 to 4 times, they're still selling. That means they don't have the right training. That means their staff isn't doing the right thing.
I
And
mean, it's not like Grandma Jones just called you up and said, "I just want to let you know that so and so sold to my 12-year-old."
exactly,
great-granddaughter.
somebody's going in with authority.
This is
Tobacco regs.
I mean, you could run it by illegal too, but
I'll run it by
So-
Hennigan.
yeah.
What are we looking for penalties, right?
Yep. Which was
Adoption.
this is just definitions.
I'm going to put a table of contents in
Yeah.
here. Authority,
Authority.
adoption of regulations, definitions.
Penalties was like I want to say it was like 12.
Ray, this one ain't my fault.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Or if there's anything under inspection.
Prohibited
Not just
practices.
Penalties right here, 971.
Vending or selling, distributing without a permit. Violations of prohibited practices.
The sale
of
distribution.
distribution.
Punished by a fine of $100, which they were found. It doesn't say that we're sending the.
All right.
The
here,
Selling or
see.
distributing to minors. First offense, $100 fine. Second offense, within 24 months of the first offense, $200. Third offense, within 24 months of first, $300. And
So-
fourth offense, within 24 months, we take away their license to sell.
All right, so if you read it, any person who sells a cigarette, chewing tobacco, snuff, or any tobacco, e-cigarettes, or nicotine delivery products in any of its forms to any person under the age of 18, or not being his or her parent guardian, cigarette, chewing tobacco, snuff, e-cigarettes, shall be punished according to in conformance with Mass General Laws C 270, 6 and 6A, as they exist and may hereafter be amended with the following local amendments. Does not say who is, if the federal went in and sold, they sold to the federal, to somebody, it's still an offense.
Excuse me, Ray.
Yep. Whether it's, we send somebody out from the Tobacco Coalition, or whether,
I apologize.
Okay.
so,
Either acting as our agent or, in this case, a higher
it
authority.
doesn't say
Marion.
one of our agents,
Let me
So-
know if everything's okay.
so.
Thank you.
It, it doesn't say in the law, in our code, that it has to be an agent sent in by us. It is an offense. So that's where we get our backup. We can waive that $100 fee. That's on us if we waive it. Because like you said, it happened 6 weeks ago. Why are we going to fine them $100? We can send them a letter saying that is your first offense. We will waive the $100 fee.
Okay.
But the next offense will be your second offense.
But run it by Hennigan.
Yeah, definitely run it by legal.
Okay.
But do you see any problem with that? I don't see an issue
No,
because it just says sale. It doesn't say from
Right.
one of our agents.
right.
And hey, the federal
Don't
government,
ask me.
the federal government.
Thank you.
Okay, I will get that out next week.
Okay. So that was sales and the re-inspections.
Sales, run by Hennigan.
Are we noticing that are these the same ones that had issue with our last 2 inspections?
No, last 2 inspections were fined and paid, and it's
No, but,
no different sellers.
different sellers.
Yep.
Okay.
So now we have 4 out there that have a first offense, essentially.
Okay.
They were retested. I asked Karen from the Worcester Tobacco Collaborative to send, do another youth access on the 4 that sold.
Mhm.
Obviously, totally different group from the FDA, so, and they didn't sell the second time. So
Okay.
they at least took heart from the event.
Okay. Good.
Right? And I purposefully asked her to wait until the FDA had notified them
Yeah.
so that they were at least aware that they were bad boys.
And that's fine. I mean, we're just looking for. We're not looking to put anybody out of business. We're just looking for compliance and keeping the kids safe.
I have very, very explicitly told Karen that if anybody comes into this town for a youth access, the person better not look 30 years old.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't want to find mistakes. I want to find people who are
just.
just
Blatantly.
blatantly
Exactly.
violating our laws. So hopefully they took the FDA's letters to heart.
Mhm.
We will, if the board wants me to, I know last year we did it. Karen should be doing the coalition pays for one every year. So Karen should be doing one. I'll find out when that's due, and then I'll come back to the board and find out how many additional they want to do this year. It's approximately $100 to $120 for each
Yeah.
round. So we can work some money out of our operating budget to do a couple of extras. Again, just to make sure that we get at least 4 within the 24-month period.
All right.
And the last topic of enjoyment. Roll your own cigarettes.
Ray's favorite.
We dealt with this last year. We just couldn't touch it.
We don't have any in Auburn yet.
No.
And it has been my attitude, and so far it's stood up, that they can't have them because that would be selling less than 20 in a pack.
Mhm.
And we require that you can't sell cigarettes in less than a full pack. But I think it would be very easy to amend our laws to include no commercial use of roll-your-owns. I could get the exact wording from the coalition. We could put it into prohibited practices. It's a one-line addition to our regulations, and I think it may cover us from any. We don't have any in town right now, but I want to prevent them from coming in.
How would we know?
When we do tobacco inspections,
Mm-hmm.
we would observe the machine there. And I would imagine if they have a machine, they're advertising it. What they're doing is circumventing they're circumventing the tax laws.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we care about the tax laws. We care about them, but is it ours to enforce? I don't know, but I truly believe that if they are avoiding the tax laws, then they are selling them for significantly less money, which means the child who's got the $1.50 or $2 for lunch can now go out and grab a couple cigarettes instead of lunch with their lunch money. So
Our current tobacco regs have anything with the RYO?
no, we don't mention our RYO because it didn't
They
exist. Well,
didn't, yeah.
other than the one my father had when I was a kid. But-
Yeah.
And again, I have no dream or desire of stopping somebody from buying a home style roll your own and
Yeah, they do
talk about
have the-
buying your tobacco and making them at home.
Mhm.
I just
I mean, people have been doing it for years. Buy the tobacco,
Yeah.
pouch of tobacco, and buy the papers,
Yeah.
and they roll their own. That's fine. It's just when we saw this when it first came out, we saw a picture of the machine, and they wanted to put them in stores, so people go into the store, pay the cashier whatever, make their own right there, and then put them in a bag, whatever, and walk out with them. But this, though, I
And
saw the letter, this gentleman's trying to, build clubs, because now it's not the tax way.
And the advantage is loose tobacco doesn't have all the taxes that cigarettes have on it. So
Exactly.
you can buy enough tobacco to make 20 cigarettes, and it probably costs you $4
Instead of the
instead
8 or
of the 8 or
9,
9
whatever it
bucks.
is.
So,
the-
so now people of lesser incomes,
So with the
i.e.
new,
our
with the
children,
new tax
can afford
increase too, I've heard people talking more about this. So,
and even though the federal law says they can't do it, it really has no enforcement teeth. They don't
Mhm.
have the enforcement power. So unless we adopt it locally, I think we,
we put a moratorium
not
on
have
any
teeth.
grow your own smoking clubs here in town and look at it as a revision to the tobacco regs.
I think rather than smoking clubs, maybe we look at just a line item that says that they're illegal in the town of Auburn. So not only clubs,
for commercial use, because if
For
you buy one,
commercial
put it in your
use, right.
house, you're fine.
so yeah, a private club.
Public or private, commercial
Yeah,
use.
commercial use,
Is prohibited.
for sale,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as a private person wanting
Yeah,
to buy
you want-
their own residential unit and,
Yeah.
and have it in their
Yeah, that's, there's
smoking
no,
room, that's the American
yeah,
way.
exactly. What happens in your castle stays in your castle, really, so.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to stop people from doing things what they want to do in their own house, as long as it's legal, but.
All right,
So,
let me look into wording. I will try to
Mhm.
present wording.
they said there was 47 towns throughout the Commonwealth that adopted something. Maybe get a little
Yeah.
clip from somebody else's. Don't reinvent the wheel. If you
No.
find somebody who works with our regs, drop it
And
in.
how hard will it be to throw an addendum into our current tobacco?
We will
regs?
actually slide it right into, what did I say,
Spending, selling.
prohibited
This
practices.
is right here. We can do
We'll
it.
put a one-line,
Addendum 6 or something.
Mhm.
I don't know, the six,
Will that
no.
require the
Oh,
full?
service, please.
It will
hearings
require a
and public
hearing, but I
notice and-
think
okay.
it'll be a very quiet.
Because it's such a.
Yeah,
it's
we can
just
have
a
the hearing.
small
I
line.
suspect we'll be able to have the hearing at a regular meeting. It'll be a
Okay.
10-minute hearing.
Okay.
I would suspect,
Yeah,
unless the world
let's
shows
see
up.
what's out there.
I think
will
when we had
say-
the other hearing and we had 4 people show up, so
And they were e-cigarette people.
e-cigarette people, because it
who
was the
were
new
worried about
regs.
including
Yep,
it.
exactly.
Okay.
I will tell you, 2 towns over is facing this
I
problem.
saw it already. I saw it in the letter.
Mhm.
So,
Okay. Thank you.
All right, West Nile virus, yay.
actually, let's stay on tobacco for one
No
second.
tobacco? Oh,
I'll just present this for your reading, your light reading. Basically, it's saying that it's saying that e-cigarettes are cigarettes all new all over again. Every regulation that applied to cigarettes does not apply to e-cigarettes. Our regulations do, but advertising regulations. So quite literally, the tobacco companies have gone back to e-cigarette advertising on race cars, e-cigarette advertising on TV.
what about cartoons? Because that was one of the
It's
things that.
all, they're using
And
all of the
buses.
old games they used to play
Yep.
to try to get the kids to smoke. And the argument is all of the cancerous stuff is not in there. It's still nicotine.
Yeah, and it
Nicotine
hasn't
is
been
what's
proven
addictive,
yet.
right?
It takes years. How long did it take them to prove cigarettes cause cancer? It took them years, and the same thing with this. They're not sure yet.
Well, regardless of the cancer,
Yes,
they're trying for the addiction.
exactly.
It's a nicotine pouch in there.
Mhm.
So even though it circumvents the federal, this is a cigarette law,
Mhm.
I think they're aiming. I think they are aiming at getting the kids hooked again.
Yep.
So I just wanted to bring that up. I don't know if that's something we want to face in
Well,
the future as far
Our
as
regs are already include e-cigarettes, so
Yep.
They need a
there's nothing we can do about their advertising.
right,
So,
making you aware.
yep.
West Nile virus.
Yep.
This year, West Nile virus hit ridiculously early.
Triple E's out there too. South
Uh-huh.
Shore, I think.
The state has posted the new alert. Auburn is still at a low risk for.
Mm-hmm.
We're at a low risk for West Nile virus. We are at a. I can't read this because I'm blind and I'm tired. Our risk for Triple E is insignificant. What's the lowest one on this? What's the lowest one on that?
The lowest one is remote.
Remote. and our risk for West Nile is low.
Low.
Reason for those, obviously, we had West Nile hits for the last 5 years, almost guaranteed every year. And they've had some West Nile hits in Eastern Mass,
Yeah, a
and
couple.
I believe up in the Belchertown, Athol area.
Yeah, there's one there.
They also, there's been one horse that died of triple E, or has been affected with triple E in Belchertown this year.
We have a
Um,
critical, and that's what it looks like. It looks like in that area. I can't tell exactly where that
That's
is.
where the,
That's the
that's where the
critical.
horse came down.
Okay.
I had Central Mass, or working with Central Mass Control, we did a preemptive spraying
Mhm.
middle of last month.
I remember. Yeah, I saw that was in
See-
Worcester, the kind of the Worcester area, like Jerome and that.
Where
whole-
we always get the West
That's-
Nile hits.
Yeah.
It took the population down. The cold weather recently has held the population. It's been very low active. I'm hoping, yeah,
Time's up.
I'm hoping it had an effect. Last year, our first hit was 822.
Yep.
It looks like we've put off, even though West Nile virus is hitting the state early.
We
It
have
looks like
not.
we've put it off,
Okay.
and we're matching last year at least. Hopefully, we'll exceed last year.
Mhm.
Talked to Tim today, yesterday, from Central Mass. He is saying that as long as the temperatures get low at night,
We should be in good shape.
we probably don't want to do preemptive spraying because the mosquito population is not coming out.
Okay.
If it gets warm again, we might want to revisit it.
Okay.
He collected his traps Friday. He got his results today. Hey Andy, it doesn't look like we found any virus in the area last week. And when he says area, he's talking to 40 towns that he covers.
Yeah.
He is waiting for 2 samples from Holliston and Tewksbury. But he doesn't recommend another wide area spraying unless it gets hot again.
Okay.
And then we'll revisit it.
Mhm.
I've been keeping Julie, the schools, Ray, I think I've had you in that. Have I been emailing you the mosquito information?
No.
No? Okay, I'll add you to that because
I
you're
get it from
involved.
I get it from East Middlesex
Okay.
because that's where I work, so I get the East Middlesex one.
I thought of everybody who was sitting around the table last year and I put them in an email list.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've
If you
been
don't mind
emailing
throwing
them.
me in that, and Steve may
Okay.
want to be involved in that too.
Just when I do something
Yeah.
or when I talk to somebody, I just try
Yep.
to keep people.
Mhm. Okay.
Right, the message obviously is still the same. Mosquito proof your house. Get rid of any standing water. Look for stuff that you don't think of as standing water. You know, that tarp that you got covering the lawnmower where it folds over, there's standing water in there.
It takes the cap of like a soda bottle, a little cap with water in it can hatch
I
multiples.
have buckets of weeds around my house because I've been weeding all week. It's going to rain Friday. I got to make sure I get rid of those buckets of weeds.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I won't see the water in the buckets, but it'll be there.
Yep.
So be attentive to things that you're not, that you don't think of it has water in them.
Okay. Emergency planning.
I had no update, but I have an update.
Okay.
So we're going to throw this out there. MHOA. If you are interested in attending MHOA this year, the coalition will cover it.
Except.
Requirement, you have to attend at least one full day equivalent of emergency planning stuff. So that it's,
How many
it's
classes?
a 3-day event. It's probably 4 classes, 4 to 5 classes. 6 classes maybe. No. 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Probably 4 classes would be a 1-day equivalent.
Okay.
So two-day
It's
program?
a 2-day program.
What's on
there is a
Friday
public
morning?
health nursing. There is a public health nursing branch.
Mm-hmm.
Friday morning is session A is asbestos. Session B is Title V plan review.
Okay.
I will probably stay for Friday because I plan to go to Title V plan review.
I want to go do the asbestos. But I'm gonna. I actually, my paperwork is in with the town of Framingham right now to see if they will send me.
If you have alternative funding, I would recommend using that because you're not restricted to go into
Well,
Title V.
if we go through ours, it may be the same thing because we're gonna use in the FEP.
LSAC.
Yeah, LSAT. Yeah, so we'll
Um,
be doing the same thing.
I may pay for it myself out of my pocket because there's various
Stuff
topics
that you want to go to.
So I may pay for it out of my pocket. I'm trying to talk to the Region 2
Mhm.
and see if they'll prorate that.
Yeah, so
You
if
know,
you go to two of
if I go
the-
to 2 out
will
of the
they pay
4,
for
well, they pay for half, you
half?
know, and I'll pay for the other half. But I'm not sure I want to be locked into just emergency plan
Yeah.
stuff.
That's what we were talking about too in our meeting at work the other day, same thing, so. Yeah, it looks like there's some really good food ones on there.
There's some really good.
Everything.
Community sanitation is always
Yeah.
good. DEP's updates are always good.
Actually, the ones that they want us to go to, there's one or two I wouldn't mind going to.
Thing is, after the first 3,
Yeah.
it's all risk communication. So, social media, Auburn is trying to get involved in social media, so that's one that I'll attend.
Yeah, that's what we were looking at too.
Emergency preparedness.
Mhm.
I'm going to have access to the Facebook and the Twitter accounts, so I want to make sure I don't do
Yeah.
bad things on it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's. It looks like it's gonna be a decent conference. I'm hoping that I will be placed with the through Framingham, so that'll alleviate anything coming out of. I know every year they send 3 to 4 of us,
Yep.
and this year it'd probably be 4 with you, Darlene, myself, and I know Marion's gone to pass. Steve may want to go for a day or something. So if I can alleviate that by going through another venue, then that's what I'm going to try and do.
It's a really good conference. It's back at Cape Cod this year. It's down in Hyannis.
At the Cape Codder.
So
Hopefully the water slide that lets off right near my room. So, okay, let's just keep this moving because this has been long today.
What do you mean? It's not even 2 hours yet.
I know.
So if you're interested, let me know, and I will get your name in with the
I'm
coalition.
putting in mine in with Bob tomorrow.
you,
If he okays it, then I'll let
Worcester
you know.
is, the Region 2 has taken a stance. They will reimburse. So it will be out of pocket up front, and
And reimburse
you get
later.
reimbursed. I
Took me
just
6 months for mileage last time.
270, 300.
I think it's 6 with the hotel and everything. I think it ends up coming like 660 or.
It's not that far of a drive. Could you
Yeah.
throw me an email? Remind me.
Do you have an extra packet Steve can take with him? I have a packet on my desk at
I
work.
can say I can photocopy this one for me and Bell,
Yeah.
and I'll make sure that Marion gets it too.
Yeah.
It's a really good conference. It is. I've been to some of the national conferences.
Mhm.
I
National
like these
conferences.
better than the nationals.
The national conferences are good in what they present. The national
Yeah.
conferences are counties that come together to do stuff. They don't recognize Massachusetts unique, one town, one group.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is specific to Massachusetts. I find it to be the most
How was
useful
the
conference we attend.
how was the DC one?
I was actually very impressed with the DC one.
Mhm.
I went to one conference, one session was regarding the logic of adopting regulation. England, a lady came over from England and presented, and she was talking about you can't. She was really messing with the United States. 'Cause
Yeah.
the United States just keeps passing laws in knee-jerk reactions. We have a shooting at a school, let's pass a gun law.
Exactly.
Rather than, let's sit on this and really think what will address the
Yeah.
problem. Because it's not the availability of guns as much as
The mental
the
health.
intent of the person with the gun. If there was no guns, we'd have an explosive, or we'd have,
We have a knife. We have
So
something.
we're
That
all-
was always, yeah.
So she was addressing the intent behind the law rather than don't let the event drive the law, let the law control the event.
Exactly.
And it was a really good session.
All right.
All right. New business. Directors' issues.
I
Besides your
have-
own personal.
nope. Tell
what do
me
you-
anything in the correspondences that bugged you or that came to
No. Like I said, a
It
lot of
was
this stuff
pretty
was
straightforward orders.
flipped through.
Yep.
Yeah, just housing issues. It looks like a lot of housing.
We have one of our vacants is going to, under director's concerns, not really a concern, it's actually good news. One of our vacants, 67 Jerome,
Yeah.
67 Hampton, we found a receiver for it. We are bringing it to court to appoint a receiver.
Is that the one we dealt with for like a year and a half? It was like their back of their property ran down into like Southbridge Street area.
No,
No, that's not 67 Hampton.
no,
is-
67
Oh, Hampton's up.
on a
I'm
corner,
talking. I'm
on the
thinking
corner of
Elmwood.
Jerome
Yeah.
and Hampton. There's
Yeah, all right.
a little tiny white house.
Okay.
It's been open, it's been unsecured.
Mhm.
We found a receiver. It's going to court on the 4th
Good.
of September, and we're going to try to hand it over to a receiver. Receiver will have the right to enter, to make all the repairs, make it a perfect house,
then
and
leave.
put it up for auction.
Okay.
Well, he'll have to petition the court
Petition, yeah.
to get his money back. He'll be allowed to put it up for auction. That's the first one.
Mhm.
I hope after that the gates will break loose and we'll be able to address a lot of the vacants. I will tell you, I have been sending letters to some of the banks that own some of these vacants, or that at least put claim to some of these vacants, and they're starting to get responsive. So I think we're going to see some, hopefully, positive
Is this
results.
also because of the new thing that what's it called? The new housing initiative from the state of are they
Yep,
involved
the
in
Attorney
this?
General's office is the
Attorney
one
General.
that's driving this one.
Yes. Okay.
Darlene brought the program in.
Yep.
She introduced me to it.
Yeah, I saw it in my housing class and I thought it was good. So.
So it's we showed them like 15 houses.
And they choose which ones meet their criteria.
They bring receivers in and look at all 15, and the receivers say, "Yeah, I might be interested in that one," or "No, by the time I get through with that one, I'll be into that for more than I can get back for it." You know. So if the value of the house doesn't exceed what they would have to put into it, then it's not worth
It's
it.
not worth it for them.
So like a house that requires a demolition, if they demo it, the property is not going to be worth the value of,
Whatever,
so
yeah.
they won't. They're not
Okay.
interested in stuff like that.
No, I'm glad that program's starting to show its
It's
worth. All right.
enjoying it.
No issues on correspondence.
No.
Any concerns?
Nope. I'm
No.
just wanted to let you know that the vacant program is up and running and seems to be moving forward at a good clip.
All right. Still no issues on animal.
Nothing on animal.
All right. I see you have something for solid waste there.
I do, if you would. This is a commitment. The assessors need to
Send out.
have the Board of Health sign the commitment in order to do the billing, because trash falls under Board of Health now.
Yes.
This is a bill that came in at the last second. It was a total change. A service change.
Mm-hmm.
They started on it after the billing went out, so they're just asking to approve this. I think it's a $50 or something.
One bill amount, $20.
Yep.
Do we need to vote on it?
Probably.
Okay.
Vote
So
to
we
approve
have.
Motion to approve the requested.
I second the motion. Second the motion. Vote. Aye.
Aye.
All right. So nice and easy. There you go, sir.
And the only other thing is, last meeting, the board authorized me to sign,
The abatements.
yeah,
Anything that was
thoughtless abatements.
Thoughtless abatements, yes.
things that were clerical errors, things that were a simple total change
Yep.
or something like that.
Well, how many do we have? Just a few.
46. Mostly total change, which
Okay.
is good news. They went from large toters to small toters,
Yep.
which means that they are producing less trash and more recycling.
Good.
So I'm actually very excited that we got 46 abatements. I will also say that in the same time, we probably got 30 new customers come on. Again, a lot of small toters. So I like the direction it's going in. It
Yeah.
seems to be
I'm
positive.
hoping. I had discussed with my wife about possibly going to a small toter, and she wanted to watch. And since we discussed that when Marion said she was going to move down a small one, I haven't put more than one bag in my trash every week. And tomorrow I have a bag and a half. So we're probably for the springtime. We're going to go back to one. We're going to go to the smaller toter, take up less space in my driveway, and we're not filling it. You know?
I have a family of 4, and we do one tall kitchen bag a week, and I do what is
There's the old blue buckets like we used to have. Yeah.
blue bucket of recycling every single week.
Yeah.
I think if people really look at what they're not recycling, and I encourage anybody to call me and say, "Can I recycle this?" My wife always doubles the paper plates because we use the flimsy little paper plates.
You take the bottom
The
one off.
bottom
take-
one is clean. That one can, it might have
Yeah.
a little bit of oil stain on it. That
Yeah,
can go in the
that can
trash.
go in, yeah.
If it's rippable, a lot of people still have the attitude that you can't put the waxy paper in. The waxy papers can go in now. All paper. If it's rippable, it's recyclable.
Yeah, exactly.
Cans, tin foil. Everybody takes the tin foil off the grill. It's got a little
Yeah.
food on it, so they wrinkle it up and throw it away. It's recyclable.
Recyclable.
It's
Yeah.
metal. They're going to send that through a melting unit anyhow, so
Yeah.
all the food product
Yeah.
will be burned off.
And you rinse
people-
your cans, you rinse your salad dressing bottles. They all go right in.
Yeah, people
Junk mail.
have to pay
People
attention to what
don't throw
can
their
be.
junk mail away.
Mm.
Recycle it, rather.
Oh my God, junk mail's the biggest source of my recycling.
Yep.
Yep.
So, no, it's good. I'm
Mailbox
glad-
to green bin into the house.
Huh?
I stopped at the green box.
They're on his way into the mailbox, he
Yeah.
says. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
another one. Oh, it's like when it's election time. They fills.
Watch out.
I read them, but when I get 25 from the same person, like within a week, I only have to read one of them. They're all saying the same thing. Okay.
I do not have production numbers.
all right?
Darlene's got that. I can tell you it is probably similar to last time.
Which was
I'm
what?
expecting in the 50s.
58. I think it was last time.
Because we're hammered with housing. I will tell you, housing complaints.
Oh, thanks.
Please.
Yeah.
Please. I don't want to hear hammered with housing. What are you getting? 10 a week? I get 10 a day. I know.
You got 3 people dedicated to inspection.
No, we don't.
We are at 98 as of today. Last year at August 8. What's today's date? Trying to tell me something?
Well, you had your 15-minute warning.
66 as of August last year. August 21st last year was 66. August 7th, we're at 98. So we and it's the vacants. It's the overgrown properties. We're getting a ton of
We
them.
get a lot more nuisance complaints. Is that what?
We're getting a whole lot of neglected property complaints, which take as much time. I did it had to have taken me 4.5 to 5 hours yesterday to write an order. It was actually composting across a property line. You can compost on your property.
You can't compost across lines.
They were so close to the property line that it was spilling across. So now, instead of the regs I'm used to dealing with,
You have to deal with them.
I have to deal with DEP's
Yeah.
solid waste disposal regs. So I spent 4 to 5 hours looking up regulations to find out, it is illegal dumping as soon as it crosses the property line. It's
It's
a
chemical.
trespass,
It's chemical
a nuisance,
trespass.
It was
So-
just ridiculous writing that
Yeah.
letter. So one nuisance complaint, even when I'm used to the order, even when I'm used to
Oh,
it,
yeah.
even when it's just
I started writing orders.
rodents.
I started writing
Um,
orders. They're taking me. They take
One
a
order is
while.
2 to 2.5 hours to
Easily.
write.
Yep.
In addition to the inspection, in addition to,
Mhm.
so there's a serious burden on these overgrown and neglected
Yeah.
properties, especially when the building starts falling into neglect.
Any new establishments?
We have 2 and 1 that is right around the corner.
I know there's one
We have Tutti
Auburn Street.
Frutti that we just authorized. The
Okay. Where's that one?
Tutti Frutti's in the Auburn Mall.
Okay, another mall one.
They have 16 flavors of yogurt plus a mixture between the two. So you can have what's called a twist.
Mhm.
So ultimately, each machine can spit out, the whole store can spit out 22 flavors of yogurt with all kinds of funky toppings.
Mhm.
It's kind of a happy little store. It got all kinds of cool stuff in there.
Yep.
So very happy to get that one open.
Little froyo.
That was a lot of work on Darlene's part.
In the food court.
Nope, they're actually
Oh, they want
come
those
in the
middle.
Macy's side.
Oh, come in.
Come in the Macy's side, right towards the food court,
Okay.
and then bang a right. It's like the third store up.
Oh, okay. It's
It's
just,
a storefront.
Okay.
They've got a couple of sit-down tables. It's a cute little store there.
Nice.
I think they'll do well there because of the type of population that hangs around the mall.
Mhm.
Obviously, they'll do better in the summer than the winter, but
Oh, it's like the place down where the old Coffee Kingdom used to be. Next door, they have a frozen yogurt stand right down there in Worcester. The place is packed every night. You go by at 7 o'clock.
there's a new one in Webster that's always
Yeah.
packed.
And the eye craves and all
But,
that all over the place. It's starting to get really
That
big.
one actually caused us a ridiculous amount of angst because of the frozen food laws.
Yep.
What do you have to test?
Do they have to get them tested once monthly?
You have to test frozen food once a month. Do you
Yep.
test one out of each machine? Do you test both out of each machine? Do you test just a twist out of each
Well,
machine
what do
because
you-
the twist will take from both of them?
Well, what does McDonald's do when you have them test theirs?
They test each.
Yes. And they have usually 2 to 3 flavors. That's it. Usually
Yes,
chocolate and vanilla.
but they don't have a mix.
They don't have a mix, so they only do
So
each bay.
we were dealing with the state, and as it stands right now, and Darlene's on vacation, so I couldn't. I opened the place today.
Mm-hmm.
Talked to the state yesterday. We are going to have them test the twist
Out of each machine.
out of each machine,
So there's
which should
eight.
be 50% of the left, 50% of the right.
So you're looking at 8 machines?
But instead of the acceptable plate count, we're cutting it in half.
So instead of 40,000, it's
Instead
20.
of 50,000, it's
25.
25 plate, and instead of 10, it's going to be 5 on the coliform.
Okay.
Logical reason, it's being contributed. If one of them's the contaminant,
If that one's at 50 and this one's at
Yep.
0, you're gonna get
Yep.
25 anyways. So okay,
so
makes
that's
sense.
a compromise we have right now.
And the
I'm gonna
state's
run it-
okay with that?
The state was, we discussed every possible,
Yeah. And
and they
now, what
said,
lab
yeah,
do you?
try it unless we see it spiking a
Yeah,
lot.
what
And
lab will we use for that one?
We don't use it, they do. They
Yeah.
choose the lab. I believe they're going to choose Microbac, correct? We already got one result back,
Yeah,
all clean.
Yeah, Microbac. I think that's what a lot of people use is Microbac. So okay.
So that one's going to just be a headache on our part to make sure that it's,
Every month you get in, you got to check
Yeah.
the cards.
Yeah.
So. All right.
so.
What was
The
so
other
that's
one
that
was, there's one on Auburn Street where the old
Subway?
Fuller's used to be. We got a Subway. I
Mhm.
believe, did Darlene open them? Or are we just about to open?
I printed up their
I
permits.
believe she gave them the okay. And,
I know somebody put a coffee machine in last week, so
They said they wanted to open up on the 14th of August.
which is next week.
Yep.
All right, good.
And then
Excellent.
we have our first ice cream vendor of the year with the new regulations. New regulations are the ice cream trucks have to be fingerprinted, and the police have to do a check on them.
And photo IDs too. They have to wear a
Um,
photo ID.
I'm not sure that's all on the police side,
Okay.
and what I'm going to do is, if they approve the person, then I'll deal with the licensing on my end.
Okay.
I expect her to be in Monday or Tuesday of next week for the health inspection. She's been through the police already.
Okay.
So we'll get the approval from Andy Slucas
Yeah.
or whoever his agent is over there,
Mm-hmm.
and
This is
that will
mobile
be
ice
into the
cream
file.
vendor?
Mobile, the trucks.
Okay.
So anybody,
I
running a
haven't heard
truck-
the music this year.
we have one in town that we are chasing every year,
The
Juniper
J-
Farms.
Juniper. And he's
Um,
got 22 trucks. You think he'd be on top
we
of
have
it?
been told that they are operating. I have not seen their truck. I would
Can't
like to
find
know
them.
their route, so if anybody out there sees Juniper Farms on a regular basis, let me know about when they drive by so I can stalk them.
Yeah.
All right.
We need to make sure everybody's up to regs because
Yeah.
the regs are there to protect the
That's
children.
right.
So we want to make sure if you do see them out there, please let us know because it is there to protect the kids in town. So all right, that's good. So we do have one. Who's the one who has just about all the permitting done?
It's out of Charlton, and she hasn't even started the permitting with us.
Yeah,
She's
I know, but
coming in to fill
but
out
she's
the
gotten
permits.
all her. She's
So
gotten
I'll
through
have
the
all
police
the-
department.
I'll
All
have
right.
all the information on that
All
when she
right,
fills out
good.
the application.
Well, that way, if somebody sees her, they know that
Yeah.
that she's gone through, and she'll have the sticker on the side of the truck. What color are
Sure,
stickers
have a,
this year?
What are we, red this year? I can't remember what color we have. I keep thinking
I think-
green, but I know
think-
it's red.
I think it was red.
I think it's red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else under the inspection stuff? I know a lot of that's Darlene, and she's not around. So.
Yeah.
All right. Communicable disease. I know we got a list of open cases.
I learned how to use
events.
Maven.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that's Maven.
First page is a list of recent events.
Mm-hmm.
Second page is essentially a copy of that. Actually, no, I only gave you one.
No, we only got
That's
the first,
Okay.
and then we have just the listing
Yeah.
of the disease
And then
itself, the cases.
The ones that Cheryl gives us on the big list
Yep.
is ones of open cases.
Yep.
So there are events on the front page that aren't on her pages. That means that they've been open and they're closed now.
Yep.
Cheryl has since closed them.
Okay.
I was informed today that we do have a TB case that just moved from another town.
Okay.
So we're adopting it.
Mhm.
Cheryl is confident that she's not going to have to babysit them. She says they're very responsible,
Okay,
and
excellent.
she's not 100% sure it's TB. It could be a false positive. She's waiting for a lab results.
Okay. Excellent.
So
And she's on top of it, so I'm not.
she's all over that. She called me on it today just to give me a heads up that it was coming in.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. We are at scheduling. Next meeting. You have a calendar handy? Anybody?
We have been. Is there a calendar on this thing?
Yeah. If you go down to the right, click on the date and time, all the way to the right. If you click on that, you could get a calendar pop up. There you go.
Can I make it bigger?
I don't know if you can make those bigger, but you can go into. Are we looking for another one in August, or are we looking to go September? It all depends on when you get back to Hennigan about the. Well, that's not gonna be till October, anyways.
That's not-
So we have time on that one.
Yeah, I envision that the hearing on the on the food will be
Because today
October-ish.
today is the 7th.
Yeah.
Which is a Wednesday. We normally meet on Mondays. Are we
Okay,
looking?
let's start there. Let's, we've been convoluted for the last
Mhm.
2 months because my schedule was bad, Steve's schedule was bad,
And my new work
Ray's new
schedule
schedule
is
is
tough.
bad. Not bad. They're all
Well,
good schedules.
actually,
They're
you
all
know
good
something?
schedules.
The way I want to go. Are you taking classes at night, working nights right now?
I work 7 to 8,
7 to 8.
7
So.
in the morning to 8 at night.
And
And
is it
how
a
many days?
regular?
And you do 4 days on, 3 days off?
No, no rhyme or reason.
No rhyme or reason. Okay.
No.
All right. So we kind of have
Okay.
to set it up like a month in advance, so you know what you need to do, right? Okay. So we need
Is
to
it a
do.
rotating schedule? So you
Every third Saturday.
and that's the only thing you know. So we can't have
Yeah,
them on
that's
every third Saturday.
This is yeah.
So anything other than that.
Okay.
But if we were to
if we plan it far enough in advance, you'd be able to. Most likely.
if we tried to get onto a routine like first and third or
Yeah.
second and fourth.
And I'm
you
fine
know,
with that too.
Okay.
I just didn't know because I think in the past he's had classes at night. And,
I'm actually okay with the 6 o'clock schedule. I don't need to have you get out of work early to get to a meeting.
Yeah.
We, that the 4:30 was convenient because I worked till 7.
and
didn't have to put it overtime.
and I was working around town. I was able to move for 4 years. I moved my schedule around this meeting, but now where I am, it's a lot more difficult.
The
I have a
meeting-
lot
the
more.
meeting really has to revolve around you.
Yeah.
You being you.
Yes, the group.
Because you're the policymakers, you're the decision makers. I don't have to be here. You know, if I'm not here, the board still functions. Obviously, it's my job. I will be here. So,
Hmm. yeah.
if
Well-
Mondays still work, Monday is cool. If not, we can.
Well, what I'm saying is today is the 7th.
Yep.
We have 3 more full weeks in August.
Yep.
If the first Monday in September would be the 2nd, is that
That's Labor
that's
Day.
Labor Day. So if we didn't meet on the 2nd, we'd have to meet on the 9th, which would give us that'd be a month out. Are we willing to go 32 days out?
I think we discussed that because this board is mostly updates and it's not hearings per se.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I would have to have one other than that is if we took action on somebody and had to have a hearing. We what do we have?
Nothing
A
in the
hearing every
pipeline
3
that you
months?
can think of.
Yeah.
Nothing that you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because I know in the past you said I may have to have a meeting. We're going to see how this comes up. We don't have any septics that are like reviews that are coming up that we need to see. And I mean, those sometimes come in. They send a thing and they need a variance or something like that.
But what we can do is second and fourth, first and third, but plan on one a month.
Yes,
But be ready to have the second if we
Yep.
need it.
and that's
the
fine.
second will be a short one.
I'm okay with that.
And it will be on a Monday?
Are we looking at how's that work for you?
I just have to. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Again,
can
it's
plan.
nice on Monday because
Yep.
I work late anyhow. But
I've been to 2
For some
at my
work.
job, and they're usually on Tuesdays.
Yep.
So, I'm fine with Mondays. Work for me, and this is a priority for me. So I want to make sure we're all on the same page. So are we gonna do? We can if there's nothing major going on. We got a lot going on the next 3 weeks. People are gonna take vacations and time off and all that. We're gonna look at that, and then we'd be back on the 9th of September, which would be the Monday, and school would be in session for a week and a half. So I'm,
It's our normal meeting
so do we
day.
want?
that would be. We usually do 2 and 4, right?
Yes.
That's right.
So
we
that
want-
would put us back on schedule.
Do we want to do 2 and 4 and call it a tentative 2? I mean a tentative 4.
Yeah.
So basically, we'll try to do the second of each month,
Yeah, I'm just
the
looking.
second Monday of each month, and if I need it, we'll take the 4th. I don't necessarily think we need
Well, because I look at
2
this.
a month,
Yeah.
unless the board feels that it's
We
necessary.
usually in October we do 2 because that's when we're doing our clinics. September and October usually. Then when we get to Christmas we do 1, and then January it's usually 1 unless we have something else going on. But in October, if we decide to do a hearing on regs, we usually do one, a
Yep.
big meeting before the hearing, and then we skip. We sometimes have the meeting at the beginning of the hearing, and that includes that's part of our meeting anyway. So
Right. If we schedule a meeting at 6 and have the hearing at 7 that same day,
yeah,
I think we can discuss
it gives
the
us time.
protocol
It
of
gives
the
us
hearing.
time to prep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking at 2nd and 4th throughout the month and I don't see an issue.
Okay, so I'll plan for the 9th. I'll be ready for the 23rd, but we won't do it unless the work
Unless it's
caves in.
needed. Yeah.
And then from there on, it'll be the 14th.
And we're looking, is 6 o'clock work for everybody?
It does.
Okay.
So, regular meeting schedule will be second and fourth.
Second and fourth,
With intention to table the fourth.
the fourth. Unless something, I mean, there's been times in the past we've had 6 meetings in a row
Yeah.
because we've been so busy. It all depends on what's coming up. But with you being able to pick up the trash abatements, the easy trash
Yep.
abatements, the, like you
Those
said,
should end now
no-brainers,
because the bill has,
the bill's gone out.
the bill's gone out and the due date's
But
passed.
the
so-
ones we do get are the ones that say, "Oh, well, I never got the thing, or something happened."
Yep.
So, but those are the ones that need a meeting, anyways. But you've been picking up some of that stuff. A lot of the stuff you don't have to bring us the septics anymore.
Nope.
So we decided you didn't need to bring those anymore. So
As we go down the road, we should probably discuss what you want to see from the office. You know,
and
how much
that's what we
information is
that's
too
what we
much
did is we
know.
kind of wiped, not that we wiped out communicable disease, but we didn't make it a line item. We made it a just
Right.
quick paperwork look through. Same thing. We took off septics. I hate to say, Andy, but damn, it was like, all right, I got 3 septics this week. I did this. And
Yeah.
I don't care. If does it
That's
affect
all.
us? Did it
Right.
affect us? No. All right. Then
Operational stuff.
if
is-
there's something happened while you were out on one that we needed to know about, then that's different. But I feel if it's something that can be done on the day-to-day office, just you can say, all right, we had, tell us, oh, we had 12 septics this week. Cool, done. We had a failure or something. You know what I mean? Nothing,
Also,
anything that's major.
Ray brought it up. This is streamlined.
Mm-hmm.
If you need further information on any one of these cases, I can get in for a full report from
Are
there.
we going to schedule a second meeting in September?
We're gonna put a
That's-
tentative meeting down for the
Right.
23rd,
Okay.
but we'll
Yeah.
probably end up tabling it unless something that
And that'll
has to
be, we'll find that out on the meeting on the 9th. So that way you can table
I think
it.
going forward we should intend.
Oh,
Intent
and
to
Keep
table
it on
if I
schedule and
if I need
Yeah.
it, it'll be something that happens between
so
the 9th
we
and the
should
23rd.
we should guarantee the second Monday of every month is a
Yeah.
meeting. Done.
Yeah.
And then from there we can figure out. I mean, other towns are doing one a month, and we were doing 2, and sometimes it's like some of the meetings it was just like talking to talk.
Yeah,
but we're gearing up towards the flu season too, so
And
the
that's
second
when we
meeting may be
the second meet.
helpful
maybe a planning meeting, a working meeting.
And I was just thinking of something
to-
else.
I thought this was socializing meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
The 4th week in. Oh no, it's gonna go past. Okay, that'll be past the Cape. That'll be the week after the Cape. I was trying to make sure it wasn't the same week of the Cape.
Again, it would be the
But that's
4th.
a Wednesday,
Yeah,
Thursday.
that would be a-
so-
Yeah, but a lot of times
The Cape is Wednesday,
we
Thursday,
always
Friday.
we used to table the one on Monday because we knew we were gonna be gone the Wednesday, Thursday, and it was like why meet when we had all that? We were gonna be doing other stuff. So, all right. At this point, unless there is any other discussion, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded, voted upon. Aye. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.